Alrighty, everybody, welcome back. Thank you for the brief break. This is Azure Dreams. This is the third year we've had these folks on ARPGME. They are doing the Rock Me to the Top Best of 3 race. We have 2 brand new runners, and we have the return of SandKnight and a new commentator. I'll pass this over to SandKnight so that he can intro and explain everything going forward for this next segment that we have for you.
Hello everyone and welcome to ARPGME. I'm sorry if you're wearing headset right now because I know I speak very loudly, but I'm gonna be here to be your host for the finale of the ARPGME 2021 marathon. Thank you so very much everyone for being part of this, runners and chat obviously. But we're gonna get into Azure Dream really quickly. I know Chai, my partner, is gonna be here soon. He's setting up the runners themselves, making sure that they are ready to start the race. So I'll take a quick time to try and explain to you what this is all about. Azure Dream is a weird game. This is a roguelike RPG, and like as close as rogue as you can get it to be. We're gonna have to explore a tower. The tower is randomly generated. There's gonna be 40 floor high. The first one is gonna be like some kind of a tutorial that we're gonna kind of skip. We have some modification to the game being implemented, and the 40th floor is just storyline. So there's going to be 38 floors in between those that are completely randomly generated. The items we can get on them, we don't know what are going to be. The enemies, well, we know what can spawn, but we don't know where they'll spawn. But one of the nice things that we have in this community, and that's the Rock Me to the Top style thing, is we have a de-randomizer in the land and the world of randomization and randomizer being added to a lot of games. We actually needed the opposite, a de-randomizer, to make sure that both runners are actually facing off against this same tower. Now, their choice will extremely matter. If one goes left, the other one goes right. If one uses an item, the other one doesn't. But they should find the same items on the same spot. And I can see they are already ready to go. Do I have Chai, my partner, with me right now on chat?
Hello, SandKnight. Hello, chat. How are you all doing?
Thank you so very much, Chai, for joining me tonight. It's going to be fun.
Oh, it's gonna be a blast.
All right. So this race is actually a little bit new from what we've seen last time. This is called Random Toolkit. And Random Toolkit is the same game as we've played all the time, bearing one huge change. CUNY, which is the character we can see in blue here, is going to be randomly replaced by any monster in the game. And we have a troll right off the bat, which is a terrible monster, way weaker than the starting CUNY generally.
May interject with one thing. We are running our own timer separate for both of the runners, but could we start the timer on the screen as well?
Yep.
Good. So we are gonna have a wind troll. This is terrible.
Thank you.
And the 5 items they generally would get, which would have been a copper sword, copper shield, wooden shield, medicinal herb, a palumpa hag, and a fireball with 5 charges, have been also randomly changed to be random stuff. So they have a blizzard sword, they have a life shield. Life shield is good. Blizzard sword, meh. And I'm surprised, actually. I guess that's Poulet that didn't actually even try to act Yang. Oh, that would be a Reven.
Oh, it's a Garuda.
Is it really? Oh, wow. Okay, you guys are gonna see something crazy right off the bat. All right. So, Garuda's a very crazy monster. The reason is, it can teleport you randomly, you and itself, at the cost of a very little amount of MP. So stupidly low, you can spam it pretty much as you want. And using a Garuda will let you actually, every time you face off an enemy in battle, why face it? Just teleport away. So, yeah. It's true though, Septic Tank. If we get our first monster to make it a little bit less weak, we have Awakened, their Dormant spell if they have any, and Trolls have a Dormant spell, which is Brid. And now every Troll we're going to get to see in the tower have this spell Awoken, and they can actually cast Paralysis Trap right off the bat. I can't even take a break from commentary. Everything's happening at the right time right now. Yeah, so our troll is trying to defend us. It's actually doing a decent job, but it doesn't have a lot of HP. It's level 2. Yeah, okay, it could protect. Reven right now we should be really, really happy with that paralysis trap. Didn't go too bad.
Oh yeah, that could have ended so badly. especially if the troll was a little bit different element. Wind is not the one that most of the runners would want to start with, but for this particular situation, it was good enough. Let's call it this way.
Yes. So there's a little bit of an elemental triangle going on. If you've played Pokemon, it would be your first 3 starters. So in this specific case, fire beats air, wind beats water, and water beats fire. So as long as you remember that, you know when you have advantage or disadvantage. And the difference in fighting against having an advantage or a disadvantage is absolutely huge. You really, really try to never face an enemy that has actually an advantage against you. And right now you can see Reven picked up the troll and put it behind him because the troll was at this elemental equal, like neutral, and it was already way too much. Imagine if the enemy was fire.
Yeah, that would have been so bad. So Reven here, SandKnight mentioned earlier, didn't hatch his starting egg. I know Reven's gameplay a little bit. Usually when he's playing this rule set, he's waiting with hatching the egg until at least like floor 5, 6. Because his idea is that, okay, I'm level 1. I don't want to hatch my egg at level 1 because then the monster will hatch at level 1.
Yes.
Let me first get some levels with my starting monster that usually like allows you to at least fight something. And then when I hatch my my egg, I will already have some levels, so that hatching monster might not have a spell. It will be good enough. So because of that idea, Reven probably will fall a little bit behind due to the fact that Garuda is Garuda, which we will probably see even more on further floors. But yeah, then it will come down to whoever has a little bit better luck with where Garuda takes him.
Yeah, and the other big thing is the first 5 floors, so up until floor 5, you would want to explore anyway, Garuda or not. Yeah, like you need those items too. If there is a bad situation going on, sometimes your Garuda might not be enough to save you from those situations. So you do want to have some items just to feel a little bit safer, right? And you would want to explore from floor 1 to 5 anyway. So I think Reven's strategy could be good, but he will fall a little bit behind still.
Yes. What we've seen right now on Poulet's side was sort of very important move because Garuda is a monster that is of wind element. SandKnight already touched it a little bit that we've got this elemental triangle, and wind is weak against fire. Most of the monster, or pretty much every single monster that has a spell, a ranged attack, is fire. Most of the traps that damage you are fire as well. So that Garuda could be like in very tough situation whenever it has to face a spell or a trap. So changing its element out of wind is usually in the best interest of the runners.
Yeah, exactly. And you say most, but actually the reality is all, because there is a spell that is actually water and deals damage, but no enemy uses it. You could include ability in that, like the ice shot you can get from a glacier would be range and water, but it's not a spell, right? So yeah, and traps, the traps that aren't fire are actually neutral, so they're not any of the other elements anyway. So realistically, you never want to be wind as a pet unless it's really like important it is for your strategy, like a load. What is Poulet trying to do here? But Reven's got his pet going on, though.
And Reven probably is thinking right now, oh, I hatched it so late, I'm probably so behind.
But he's not that behind, though. That's a good thing.
Oh, yeah, he's not. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So we could see that, like SandKnight mentioned, even though Poulet had a chance to explore the floors, or like even though like he had a chance to go higher with the elevator quickly, sometimes he was exploring because, like SandKnight mentioned, in certain situations you do want to have that item, sometimes for a easy way out, for safety, and sometimes just so that it will be quicker, because even though you can teleport away from a tough situation, it may cost you time, because if you are in a room with the elevator and there is a monster in your way, you just want to get rid of the monster rather than run away and try to like get to the same room again.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, for sure. and there's going to be a situation in which like maybe your pet is going to get blinded or whatever or confused, and then it cannot abduct you anymore. And for that amount of time, you might want to have an item on you to save yourself, right? If you're
We actually have seen it a little bit earlier on Poulet's side. He hit one of the most annoying traps, or maybe even the most annoying trap when you're playing with a familiar, called Warp Trap. It basically teleports away a unit that steps on a trap to some random location in a room.
Mhm.
Luckily for Poulet, he was teleported to the same room, so his familiar was not lost and hence was able to survive. But it's not uncommon that one such thing happens and you are far away from your familiar. It's usually way too weak to fight on its own and then dies. And especially when you're playing with a Garuda, such that would be so costly.
Oh yeah, and that's really interesting that we actually start with a Garuda run, which is not necessarily the best display of what this game is, but this is definitely a good display of the craziest this game can get. And I really like that we can see that as a first run, but we're gonna get more than one run. Actually, we do best of threes because there's a lot of RNG in this game, and sometimes a run might not be necessarily decided in favor of the best player, because just bad RNG on one side and not on the other side, so that's kind of a pain. Alright, it's fine. So there's going to be a best of 3, and I assume we're not going to get to see Garuda each and every time. And I like to see what the game has to offer in both situations. But obviously, a Garuda run is one thing, like it's a one of a kind type of thing, and it's really nice to see it displayed right now.
Oh yeah, this is definitely one of the craziest things that Azure Dreams has to offer, and we know the agreement from our runners that should they have the Garuda, first time it's there, they're gonna play it just for the memes and lols, but should they get it for the second time, they will decide not to use it because again, this is not what Azure Dreams is normally about. This is not what we see so often in the races. So yeah, we want to show off everything that this game has to offer, all the good and bad sides. So let's see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's the difference between playing a RPG where you can actually get random encounters and stuff like that, or the same game but suddenly you have 100% chance to run away. It's pretty much what this is, right? It removes a big part of the game, and you don't need to grind as much, and you don't need to set up as much. There's still bad things that can happen, or should I say, there's still bad things that's gonna happen, because this is Azure Dreams, but it's a very different game for sure.
Oh yeah, this is one of the things that actually I know Reven has practiced today, and in his practice run he got a Garuda too. So one could say that, okay, Garuda it's basically pretty much a guaranteed win. No, they can teleport away, but they are still walking on tiles. Tiles can have traps. Traps are what kills most of the runs in this game, even when you don't have a Garuda. So actually he did lose the Garuda in his previous run due to a trap. So yeah, the fact that they have this Garuda doesn't mean that they have a free ticket to floor 40. Anything can still happen.
Exactly. And that's a really interesting thing, but I think you're touching on something really nice, Chai, here, is that the better a runner gets at learning enemies' HP, because obviously you cannot route this game, right? It makes no sense, it's all so random and everything. So the way you get better is better execution, faster execution, thinking on the fly faster and being like, okay, this situation might look like a situation I've seen before. How do I solve this? What items do I have? The faster you process all this, the better you're going to get. And thus, the biggest differentiator... Are you okay?
No, I was just thinking that Poulet was teleporting Garuda with a Garuda while holding an item.
Oh yeah.
And we know that there is a certain glitch in the game
that
can make this item let's say change into something else, and in some cases even even soft lock the game. Luckily for Poulet that didn't happen. There are certain triggers. I don't want to get into it because it's too technical, but it didn't happen, so that's a good thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Reven actually took the lead, and he's taking even an extra floor over Poulet right now. So even though he actually didn't get Garuda early on, like we said, it doesn't mean much. One of the other things that's weird is this game, like we said, is de-randomized. So they're going to get to face the same floors and the same enemies on the same floor as their initial setup, stuff like that. But one of the things that's really random is definitely the fact that using this random teleportation ability from Garuda is going to actually change from once in a while. So actually, they're not necessarily going to teleport to the same spot all the time. So that could be a big factor about how this game is going to pan out. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of luck, and it's going to be a lot of like thinking fast. We have a go-up trap on Poulet on that side. You can use it, even though the enemy got trapped by it. You can use a use trap again on stepping on it again and activating it, and that lets him go to the next floor.
I don't know what SandKnight have you done. This seed is so generous. Usually we have in the community certain jokes that SandKnight seeds are absolutely horrible, that they give you the hardest tower possible with all the traps and everything. Here our runners are set. They've got all the items that they normally would need to climb the tower, maybe even twice. And that's the only thing left for them to do. It's just like go up as fast as they can. And like SandKnight mentioned, even though Reven like fell a little bit behind because he didn't hatch the Garuda immediately, now his luck with teleportation is so good that he's hitting those traps very quickly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we might get to see like a high floor count, barring obviously bad traps. There's not much they can do about it. That's gonna be, but that's the greatest like separators of eye level play. Like we said, you get good at dealing with most of the bad fights in this game, and there are many. But as the better you get at dealing with those, the more the random traps are the things that kills you, right?
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense.
This is one thing that I would like to touch upon now, because Reven just used on this floor an item called Trap Loop. As one would probably imagine, this item makes it so that all the traps are visible, and you probably, because you know where they are, will not step on them. And that's one of the most important items when you're using especially a Garuda, because most of our runners are using a certain technique or AI manipulation, movement and manipulation from the monsters, make it so that whenever they teleport away, they're pretty much safe from the monsters, so that the monsters cannot attack them no matter what. There is one situation that is like one in a like many millions, that they would have to teleport to the same location right to the next to the monster, where that monster would be able to attack them in the same turn. In every single other situation, they will always take the priority in their movement and be able to teleport away. But one thing that can kill them is traps. If they step on a trap, for example, that paralyzes them, sleeps them, etc., and then monster can kill them. If they know where the traps are, it's 100% safe. The only thing that would kill them is their own mistake, which these runners, which are very high level, one of the best our community has, probably won't do so many of them.
Yeah, our errors will happen from time to time. You're trying to play so fast. One of the things that's going to come up very often is, I don't know if you've seen that, chat, but I assume you've understood that when there is no enemy abound, when you don't see any enemies on screen, you can hold circle, and we call it demon speed. Your character is going to start dashing ultra fast. And we try to use that as much as we can, because that's a giant time save. Like, we're running so fast that we're just exploring that amount faster. But it'll let you dash, even though you cannot initiate a dash when there's an enemy close. You can actually dash up to an enemy, and then the game's going to stop you. And so it gives the enemy one turn, and higher in the tower, that's going to be one shot. Right now, they're both level 8 onto floor, what seems to be 17, I'd say. Maybe they can take a hit from some of the enemies. Like, the pickets, the green things are really hitting, not hard. That's normal. But, like, let's say they find a spider, they probably can take a hit, but they definitely can take 2. So
go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you can make small mistake, but big ones are definitely gonna cost you to run right away.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on something that Skiff mentioned in the chat, that they're very low level. Normally, when they play without the Garuda at this floor, they're about level 12, 13, something like this. So they're a little bit under leveled, even though 13 would be under leveled, but they're even more under leveled than they should be. And the good thing is that both of our runners have some attacking spell balls. Attacking spell balls are very powerful in this game.
So lucky chicken. There you go, Poulet. All right. Warp traps. Poulet. Oh yeah.
Another one for him that was very lucky.
Oh yeah.
So we discussed with Poulet a little bit before the marathon and mentioned a little bit about his luck because his luck many times is insane. Apart from the luck, of course, he's amazing player, and he even mentioned that like if he has luck 20 times in a row, is it a luck even anymore, or is it just a skill?
Yeah, but obviously it's luck. But I mean, yeah, the guy's lucky, but he's also very good, like you said.
Yeah.
And that was lucky. I mean, he got separated from his Garuda, and Garuda will not randomly teleport itself. It's just gonna get itself be beaten up by every monster it encounters if you're not around giving it orders. And obviously, you can't warp if you have the Garuda close to without the Garuda close to you, right? So the only way to get out of this was to either find back the Garuda and then you can start teleporting again, or when you actually change floor, your pet comes back to you. When you change floor, it gets teleported back to you. And the random teleport he got from the warp trap that separated him from his pet teleported him in the elevator room, and then he could just fly away, and Garuda came back to him. So that's quite lucky, but it could have sent him to any tile inside a room. So you take those.
SandKnight, what is this seat? Look at their equipment. They've got like 3 holy scrolls, malicious scrolls,
He's got your Ulim for
spellbones,
days.
everything.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention right now that Reven enters slowly but surely a territory of wind monsters. Around floor 20 was when we started seeing quite strong water monsters. Reven or Poulet as well, they don't have very good way to handle water monsters because water monsters are weak against wind. We don't have anything in our inventory that would be wind and be able to like kill anything.
Yeah.
But they do have fire spells, and those many times can dispose of a wind monster in a single fireball or a spell ball attack. So now that they are like seeing wind monsters, there is a chance that they will be killing some of them, even if they don't have to, just to get few levels, just to get a little bit more safety, just to have that a little bit more HP, just in case they get hit, so that they can at least survive a single one.
Yeah. We are out of the picket floors. The picket were the green monsters. We said with the internet, it was running around very fast. These guys are a pain because actually when they get melee with you, they hit you for very little amount of damage, like 2 times 1 hit. But they can try to steal your stuff and teleport away with it. And Poulet got stolen from 2 times, and he lost a pita fruit and a recovery ball, 2 things he doesn't care about. So you got lucky again. I guess that's just a nice thing. He's going to use a blinder ball charge to not have to face off against that Viper. Vipers are extremely scary. They're so scary that we call these sets of floor the Viper Town. Won't you take me to Viper Town? And it's really important to not fight them because not only do they hit hard and tank pretty well, they also reduce your strength permanently every time they hit you, or they have a chance to reduce your strength permanently every time they hit you. Might as well be 100%. You just never want to fight those guys. They're going to kill you so fast. And
SandKnight, do you see what we had a glimpse of on Reven's stream?
Yeah, I saw it on Reven's stream. Every time you hit a floor that ends in 6 except 6 itself, so 16, 26, 36, you can get to see a Barong, which is a weird, unique monster. It's extremely rare as well. It's 1/16 chance to spawn, and there can be only 13 monsters spawn at the same time on a floor. So they're really rare. When they spawn, they are a gacha machine. You throw in an item you don't want, and they recycle it into something else. And the something else is completely random. So if you got any items you just don't care about, use it to, recycle stuff. And if you don't get anything good, that's fine. But at least, like, you didn't lose anything good. And if you get something good, right, you can just refresh your inventory and move around. It takes a little bit of time. They can only do it like 6 times before they are MP-less. They don't have any more MP to do it. Is it 5 times? 5 times, I think. So some runners just don't care about it too much. And if I was facing against Poulet as Reven, I would definitely not do that. It takes too long time.
Yeah, definitely, especially now that they have, like I said, everything they really need to like climb the tower. They've got really good inventory. They've got a monster that can take them out of bad situations. So what else do they really need to like hope for to get from Barong? That's why there is no really point to play with him.
Oh, you lucky Reven. Let's go. Alright, the enemy was going to be in his way, and he actually just ended up walking. Oh, wow, okay. Poulet trying, yeah. Okay, the reason why he got punched is really sad because the enemy was confused, and confused enemies has an equal chance to hit every time. What do we have here? What's going on? It's 431, Baldo, but it's a one-room floor. I can't even speak about the thing that another thing is happening. Okay, so floor 31 is generally where you get some storyline happening. It's happened. That's cool. Go on, move on. But instead of being like a set of rooms connected by corridors, that specific one is just a giant room. And every enemy sees you in a room, so they were all zoning in for him. He used a holy bell that makes it so every enemy that's in the same room as you, which is every enemy's in a room like this, has to run away from you. So you're good, you're good. Reven's out of this now. And he's just zooming. This is quite a run. My commentary's not strong enough.
That's Garuda for you. Like, seriously, we cannot keep up with the commentary. I hope that in the second round we'll have a little bit more time to explain the strategies that our runners are using. Because right now, the main strategy is just go fast.
Yeah, exactly. The timing right now is just absolutely crazy. These runs makes absolute no sense, and I adore it. There is a giant lead that Revens has actually built over time. It's around about 6 floors, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So right now...
Go ahead.
No, go on.
I just wanted to mention that like this 6 floors lead at this point might be really hard to like take back, especially when you have a Garuda. The only thing that Poulet can hope for is that Reven will lose his Garuda and that will slow him down.
Yeah, barring very bad luck with teleporting, like it would teleport you in between 2 rooms all the time. And, like, Reven is not going to teleport all the time. He's only going to teleport when he's in a bad spot. So he's probably instead going to run from room to room. And every time he faces an enemy, he's going to teleport, which is the right way to play that. So what's going to happen is, barring losing his Garuda, I don't see how he would slow down. Or unless being very unlucky, like I said, with the teleports. But, yeah, Poulet is a little bit behind, quite a bit behind, actually. And that might be a very interesting run. Isn't it very interesting one?
It is. There is one more thing here. Even though Reven got just like I think 2 more levels and a little bit more HP, on these floors many things can one-shot Reven. So he cannot really take a single misstep. He cannot take a bad trap that will make a monster hit him. He cannot really do anything badly here. He just have to be perfect in his execution. Otherwise, it might be his demise.
Maybe he could take a hit from the Scorpion dudes, but everything else is going to one-shot him for sure. I'm not even sure. Level 13 is very low. Like, the Scorpion, like the Tyrants they're named, I would probably deal around about that, 60 damage.
Yeah, I think maybe the Glacier would be fine. But the Glaciers, like you mentioned earlier, have another annoying ability where they can snipe you from afar. That attack is a little bit... let's say less powerful, so probably it wouldn't kill, but the problem with this attack is that it can come from the angle that you don't even see, so
yeah,
you
exactly.
have to make sure that you're always at like max HP.
Yeah, Dragon Fire Breath from afar would also probably not kill because it's not that strong of an ability. But I mean, like you said, it's range. Like you might not even see the dragon that's shooting at you, and then you're just like, oh, I lost 40 health. What am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And then you start stressing, and then you make mistakes.
Oh yeah, and that we've seen that time and time again, where you take an unlucky hit, you have less than max HP, and then suddenly you take another unlucky steps, and that's it for you. So, but so far it looks like Reven is doing great. He's already floored 36, only 4 more floors to go, or 3. Oh,
or 3, or 2. Go up trap, definitely the kind of trap you want to see.
Well, one thing that we can already mention for those who never played this game, tower is 40 floors, but the amount of floors that you actually have to climb is 39 because floor 40 is scripted. That's one of the things about this game is why we can play it the way we are playing without really like leveling up or anything like this, is that final floor is scripted boss battle. We don't have any other boss battles. We have only final boss battle and it's scripted. So we can be even level 1.
Oh yeah, there's really no boss fight in this game, and you said 39. It's actually 38 because the first one is not really a floor either.
Exactly.
There
we go. Reven is on floor 39.
He's so close.
and
Okay.
elevator, but he's got everything to like be able to handle this floor as long as he doesn't do a single misstep.
Ah!
That
Okay,
was
making the
funny.
golems fight against
Okay.
each other. This is good.
Pillar. Yeah.
All right, yeah,
That-
double
that's gonna
pillar will
be
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if the golem charges, punch won't go out before the pillar can go.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Okay. That seed
He even
was
goes for the two.
it was not what we
Ouch.
usually have in terms of craziness, but that's GG for Reven. He takes round
G
one in
frickin'
a
G.
crazy time, under 30 minutes. It's absolute craziness.
But didn't the timer start a little bit late, or did
I had my own timer running. It was like 27:50.
Wow, that's madness. Yeah, sub 30 is quite the time. Wow. Yeah, obviously it's not an any percent run necessarily, like they had a Garuda from the get-go. So it would be a little bit different in an 80%, but like even going through the random toolkit rule set, this is a very fast run.
Yeah,
I
so
will ask-
Reven stopped at 26:56. I have him.
Wow.
Okay. I will ask Poulet whether he wants to finish his climb, because he is quite close, and then we
Yeah.
will proceed to the round 2. This is not end of the match, like mentioned here. It's best of 3.
Yes.
So Reven takes game 1. We still have at least 1 to go, potentially 2. So yeah, Poulet confirmed that he wants to finish the climb, so we'll let him because he's quite close. Especially with the Garuda, it shouldn't be more than and the go up traps. It shouldn't be more than 2 minutes probably. So let's see how Poulet will finish whatever is left there. In the meantime, on Reven's screen we can enjoy the scripted boss battle. Reven is using all the resources that he has, even though he doesn't have to, and then he will die to a final boss. But not really.
but not really, exactly.
Oh, Reven is doing the glitch.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Okay,
Explain
so
the SandKnight, please.
Yeah, exactly. So generally, the script would start now. You get to drop to 0 health, but the game keeps you at 1, and then a story ensues. But because he's a frog, there's actually no script for that. And the final boss kills you. You fall to 0 HP and die. And actually, even though this is a fight you cannot lose, quotation mark, he actually lost the unlosable fight. And it's actually something we haven't known for the longest of time. It's a very new, not very new, but I mean, like a year ago kind of thing we found, and that's madness. You can lose the unlosable fight. So there you go.
I guess then that makes Reven actually lose the round, right? He didn't finish the tower.
We do count a clear from growing from 39 to 40, and we see Poulet do it at the same time as we talk about it.
Poulet.
Double clear, let's go.
And both of them under 30 minutes. It's craziness.
It's really crazy. Wow.
Yeah, that was very nutty, crazy. Always high action here with the Azure Dreams.
Always.
I will now make our runners run the second seat. I will make sure that everything is ready, start them up. So SandKnight, the floor is yours. Entertain our audience.
I will. Okay, so one of the things that you guys need to know is that, like we said, the game is de-randomized, but it's still seeded, right? So they're going to play a new seed. It's a seed they never played before. Same as the first one. They never played that one either. The seeding process or the de-randomizing process is just to make sure that they face off against the same problems, the same situations, but they don't know the seed in advance. They don't get to play it before. We just generate the seed very quickly. Now, other things that are going to change is we are playing the random toolkit. I touched on that earlier on. It's a normal any percent run with a twist. And the twist is pretty much at the beginning of the game, CUNY, your main monster, is going to be replaced by another one. And the 5 starting items you should get are also going to be randomized with other items. But they're going to be matching items. A weapon will be replaced by a weapon. A shield will be replaced by a shield. But random ones, right? So they should play a different tower. A different seat of the tower, and thus obviously the monster replacing CUNY is going to be a new one. So what we like to do in chat, I know there's a lot of people from our community here. If you guys want to guess on which monster is going to happen, if you do not know the game too much, you just seen the game, maybe one of the enemies we faced off you think is pretty cool and you'd like to see that, Yeah, let's just get going. Some guesses in chat right now. And if you don't know the name of the enemy, that's fine. Just say like spider thing, and we'll understand. Uh, so we're gonna get them to see. They're actually not on the same seed right
Yes,
now.
Poulet's seed is a little bit off. He noticed the mistake. He will load up the correct seed. But Reven's seed is correct. So
Marvelous. Isn't that beautiful? All
Mhm.
right. So we're going to get that's exactly why this screen exists. It's to make sure that both runners are facing off in the same tower. We're going to get to see that reset on Poulet on that side. Luckily we start the timer when we first move outside of Ko's house, so that section is not really timed, and that gives you a chance to rename your main character without having the timer on. So that's good. If you have a message to send to your opponent or to chat, that's where you do it.
we should do one time some kind of exhibition where we actually show off the plot of this game. It's amazing, right, SandKnight?
The what?
The plot. It exists somewhere.
Really? I've played this game for years now. I'm pretty sure there's no plot.
But maybe you can like give us a short summary of the plot. Like
Sure,
let's
sure. I
say
can try
3
to.
sentences.
Okay. So, tower can't go there until you're 15. Now, Co's 15 can go in the tower. Tower is bad because father went and never came back. So, maybe it was a tower, maybe it was something else, who knows, but father never came back. Go to the top of the tower, find what happened, kill the bad guy. That's it.
Pretty good summary.
Thank you very much. And I forgot the final part, the climax of the game. Turn into a frog and die. That's canon, right?
Maybe? I don't know. Is there a canon in this game? Do we play it for the plot?
What are we talking about? All right, both our runners are going to be reset and ready to race for the second time. We have 1 point onto Reven's side. Great game on both hands, though. A sub 30 is absolutely crazy. We have not seen that often, so that's going to be a lot of fun. But right now, barring having another Garuda run, which we don't know, even us, we haven't checked the seed before actually
And
running
now
it.
the runners are off. We can start.
They are. All right, these guys are going to be ready to experience the thing, and we can see what monster is going to be. Right now, the blue monster is called Cuny, but once we get into the rename screen, we'll see the name of the monster we're going to get. Batnell! Oh,
Ooh.
Reven is going to be happy. That's his boy. Wow, can you talk a little bit about Batnell, White School?
Oh yeah, first of all, Batnell is cool because it's Reven's favorite familiar. That's one cool point, right? But second point about Batnell is that it's simply an amazing familiar.
Yes.
What we've seen with Garuda... it's a
wind Batnell. Nice.
What we've seen with the Garuda that doesn't really like apply to many other monsters is that we don't really have to care about MP of that monster. But whenever we are using any other familiar for which we are using either direct attacks or magic, they use up quite much MP, and to recover it you have to use a fruit called Pira or Big Pira. That is not, let's say, fairly common. But with Batnell, there is a special trait that they eat herbs, and herbs recover 50 MP. And herbs, any herb, are much more common than the Pira fruit. So pretty much, you don't have to worry about MP of Batnell anymore. And what is the amazing ability of Batnell, apart from having good mixture magic, is that it can heal you. And because of that, you can just pretty much have MP recovery machine, HP recovery machine, for which you can recover MP very, very easily.
That's it. Absolutely. It's very, very good, but we have even better right now. So the other, there's 3 monsters in the game that has a special ability about eating stuff, and it increased MP. So what would be better than eating only herbs, which are everywhere, and recover 50 MP? Eating metal, because yeah, that includes swords and shields, but that includes money on the ground. And the dragons we have on Poulet side, which is the hatched egg right there, is actually exactly that. It can eat metal. So you can pick up just a copper coin on the ground here and refill 50 MP, which is a gigantic amount. So both these monsters are extremely potent at never running out of MP. So they're so good that it doesn't even matter which one of these two abilities is the best, which is probably the dragons. But I mean, you'll never run out of verbs, or very rarely so. So they're both pretty much have infinite MP right now.
But I would choose like dragon over Batnel any
Yes,
time of the
same.
day. Sorry, Reven. I love you, man. Batnel is great familiar, but simply dragon is way too powerful in sheer power, in sheer attack, physical direct attack. Dragon overpowers Batnel very quickly and very easily.
Yeah, one of the things though that generally makes dragon a lot better than Batnel is the fact that you should be able to pick it up and put it wherever you want. Like, you can pick up some monster if they're not AV enough. And you cannot do that with that dragon, because generally you can do it because it starts out as a kid, a small dragon, and then it'll evolve into a dragon form. And they made a little bit of a mistake in the coding where it should update the weight of the monster, but it doesn't. So when it becomes a dragon, it keeps the weight of the kid, which is pickable, and the dragon should not be. But as we got that dragon already evolve in egg, which is one of the things we do in the random toolkit, you can get any monster that includes evolved form. It was never a kid to begin with, so there was no updating going on about. This guy is unpickable. And that's generally one of the advantages of Dragon over Batnel is the form before Batnel, because it's got one as well, which is called Nuyel. Both of these forms are unpickable. You cannot pick them up. So right now, that's pretty much going back to neutral. I would still pick up the dragon, but I mean, that's a big thing outside. That's lost on the dragon right now.
There is some kind of, like, let's call it balancing for the fact that like you would get a kid turned into a dragon and then you can pick it up. The downside would be that kid as a monster has lower stats increase per level than a dragon. So if we take a dragon, level 20 dragon, that was a dragon from level 1, and the level 20 dragon that was a kid at level 1, that first one will be much more powerful because the stats increase is definitely in the favor. Oh, and Reven just hit the warp trap.
Oh, ouch. Okay, if my boy die, at
That's
least he gets a
to
dragon.
him.
Sorry, what?
I think that it would be beneficial to him because, like we discussed earlier, Reven doesn't want to hatch the familiar until like floor 5, maybe. So I still stand by my statement that dragon is a better familiar. So he would simply get that better familiar faster.
You're not wrong. Point is, he might not even try to hatch at all, because Batnel is on the top of the list. One of the reasons he might try to do it is because there is a way in the game, or in the randomizer, should we say, there is a way to know that the monster is evolved. There is no coding prepped to randomize a random color of the egg when it's an evolved monster. So generally when you find an egg, it's not written like, oh, this is a Nuyel egg. It's going to say it's a light blue egg or a pinkish egg, right? And then you analyze it, you identify it, and then you'll know, oh, okay, it's that type. But there's no such coding for evolved monster because they should not be able to be eggs, right? So they don't have a name when you find them. So that's why Poulet probably, as soon as he saw that the egg didn't have a name, he didn't know what it was, but he knew it was an evolved monster, and they're generally almost all very good. So it was like, Batnel's great, but I have another option on the table. Probably very nice.
Yeah, that is correct. But the chat is making very a valid point. Might be so that because Reven also knows this thing, he knows what kind of evolved monsters might be there, and he might be thinking, okay, it's not a monster that I would be interested in because Batnel is actually my boy. So why should I go to something else?
Yeah, realistically, the chances it's better than Batnel is not that high. It really was, in both our opinion, I think. It was, but the gambling here might not be paid off. If it would have been a Univern, for example, it's terrible, right? Nobody cares about Univerns. I could argue Saber would have been great, but that may be just me. I just really love Sabers in general. Arachne would have been great.
Oh yeah, Ashra is my favorite monster, so it definitely would be a thing for me. Dragon probably can sort of match Arachne or Ashra in like physical power, because it's like stats increases so like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But on the higher levels, which our runners probably will never get to because they want to go fast, Arachne would be stronger. But then when you're fighting with Arachne, you need more MP, and for MP you need MP recovery items. And with Dragon, you get easy MP, you can let the Dragon fight on its own, so probably Dragon in the end would have to be a better choice. I can admit that.
But then again, there would not have been a lot of good choices. Like Ifrit would have been weaker. To be honest, I think I understand why Reven would not even try to edge the egg, but I think I would have, and it's probably because I like weird strategies, which probably are not the best anyways. But yeah, I like to have a Hashra or a Saber turn to win, but that's just me. I know Reven likes that strategy, actually. I think if he gets a chance to show it off, he will.
So, SandKnight, maybe can you tell us one thing that unfortunately we will probably not see, or most definitely will not see in this game. But why would Batnel also be, let's say, a very interesting choice for your casual gameplay?
Oh, many reasons. Which one are you actually trying to allude to?
I'm talking about the Underflow.
Oh yeah, okay. It's actually not only Batnel, but I assume it's one of the easiest to do it with.
Yes.
So Nuyel's stats, so the monster that comes before pre-evolution, its stats is one of the weakest in the game. It's not the weakest, like Pickets and Dreamins are terrible as well, but Nuyel's stats growth is really bad. And once it reaches level 20, it becomes a Batnel, and Batnel stats are absolutely fantastic, and they have to be because it's trying to catch up to the terrible stats Nuyel had for your first 19 level, right? So its stats is absolutely wonderful. Now, one of the things you can do is use either a monster or a spell ball to level down your pet. And one weird thing with evolving monster is it's gonna level down, but it's not gonna unevolve. It's just gonna level down, and it's gonna remove stats as just trying to see like how many stats do you gain per level up, and it's gonna subtract that instead. So it's gonna start losing stat faster than it gained them, and at some point you're gonna underflow your stat, and you can have like a level 3 Batnel or something with 256 attack and defense, and that thing is unkillable. There's nothing that's gonna get through that, I can tell you now.
Oh yeah. I think the tower is trying to tell Reven for a very long time already, like, go ahead and start hatching the deck. There is something better there, because Reven, I think he hit already like 2 or 3 paralyzed traps, and now he hit another warp trap, and now finally his familiar is dead. So I think we'll see Reven finally hatch that egg.
No, he's got a restore scroll. He just revived the thing. Yeah. No, you gotta commend him for that. He's a loyal man. He saw, yeah, he can save his boy. He's gonna do it. And we have some U-boat dancing, so these creatures will always get the first strike on you. And the way they're gonna do that is, while they are in this state, when they are underground, they are invincible. And you really don't want to give them the first strike. They're gonna get, if they start their turn close to you, they will unburrow or come back up and attack you. But obviously, since they are invincible, if you step on their tile, they are not in melee with you, they're just under you. They have to move away from you. And so you can use that and abuse that to force them to move around. And we saw Reven do a lot of that. That's a very dangerous strategy, but it can pay off big dividends, and it did just right there. He did manipulate 3 U-boats at the same time. We call that U-boat dancing, and it's not something you want to do. If you can, okay, now we'll have a warp trap on Poulet on that side.
But Dragon is such a powerful creature.
You're not wrong.
Probably even on water floors, I think he can take care of himself. That's why Dragon probably would be better choice than a Battle in almost any situation. But yeah, Poulet doesn't have a problem. He just
he doesn't even care.
So like SandKnight earlier mentioned, there are like few situations in which you can like get that familiar back. One is just like to move next to it, and the another one is to get
Batnel's gonna die to a Dreamin'. Okay, no, maybe not. Okay, he's good.
As we all know, Dreamin' is an MVP, right?
That's not a false statement. I would like to tell you it is, but it's not, so I can't.
Yeah, so this is the power of the Elementor triangle showing us how exactly it works. Dreamin' on its own is very terrible monster. It's not very powerful at all. But because it has elemental advantage over water, that Batnel was actually kind of in trouble. And when you are a frog, which Reven was because he hit a frog trap, unfortunately, at the time, you are not able to command your familiar or do any actions. The only thing that you can do is move.
Oh, yeah.
And your familiar, because it doesn't have its master telling it what to do, it will just do whatever its AI says. And its AI says, okay, I see a monster, I'm gonna protect you from it, I'm gonna fight it. It could have ended very, very badly, very, very quickly. Luckily, Reven turned back from a frog status and was able to command his Batnel and keep him alive. Or I don't know whether it is lucky.
We have the same situation happening here on Poulet side, but it's a dragon instead, and there's really no danger.
Yeah.
Dragon's just gonna have like, oh, cooked chicken. Nice.
So again, I'm sure, like, thinking, like, was it really fortunately for the Reven that he was able to, like, recover from that?
No.
Or maybe he should have just let that Batnel die and check that he has a dragon.
I mean, at this point, it would... Well, he's only level 6 anyway, so that's not a high-level dragon. But it's not a high-level Batnel either, so... I don't think it matters too much. I'd love to see him change because like you said, I think it's just a better choice overall. I don't know. I mean, he's doing fine.
I know that Reven knows strategies to, like, fight the monsters directly through some movement manipulation, so that he would be able to, like, level up that dragon pretty safely and pretty easily. And also we have to remember that dragon has a ranged spell that normally costs way too much MP to be sort of useful in battle. But if you have, like, MP recovering machine, why do you care how much MP anything costs?
Exactly. That's true also for the Batnel. We saw Reven use his healing ability to heal himself, which is great. But generally it costs way too much MP. You never use that. But again, Batnel, pretty easy to recover some MP, bearing some very bad luck. So you want to see that all the time. And you can use some healing magic. Healing on a monster, I'm not a big fan of. That's a weird thing. You kind of need to have played the game to understand. But if you have AI for your monster to follow and they'll do whatever you ask them to. But in some very weird situation, if you are low on health and you are on the AI that tells your monster to boost your attack with its spell, the Batnel or any monster with a healing magic can ignore that command and decide to heal you instead. But the healing is very weak, so you could be in a situation where you cannot take an extra hit from that dragon in front of you. And even if you got healed, you could still not take a hit from it. It's too hard. And but you're fine because you're gonna kill it with your ice attack with the help of your pet, right? And because of that special AI, it's gonna ignore your call and it's gonna heal you. You're not gonna do the ice attack and lose because the dragon's gonna counterattack and one-shot you. Lethal heal, yeah, absolutely. That's very, very bad thing. And it happened to me way too much, and I think that's the only reason I put Batnel or any healing monster a little bit lower on my tier list of best monster.
Yep, fully agreed. It's still amazing monster. It's still something that you can easily climb the tower with. But, like, if you have to compare between the best of the best tests,
it's a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's still pretty good. Yeah,
exactly. One thing that I would like to touch right now is that even though we are sort of belittling Batnel, giving it only 10 out of 10, but we have to notice that Reven is in the lead. And one thing that I would like you, SandKnight, to explain to our viewers is the difference between the equipment that our runners are using. Because if you notice, Poulet does have a wand. It's a paralyzed wand. And Reven is still using the, I think, was it starting item, Gulfwind Sword. So can you tell us what's the difference? What it's all about?
Oh yeah, okay, so there's two weapon categories in this game. The first one being sword, the second one is wands. And those two categories are extremely important because right off the get-go, they have one big difference. Sword will increase your strength. And generally it's between 1 to 5. There are exceptions. Some very legendary swords can give you up to 10, but they have drawbacks. And that attack power increase, even though it seems small, like 125, is actually very huge. It's really, really, really good. You want to get the strongest sword you can get. But wands, they only increase your attack power by 1. Everyone's does that. That's just how they work. Also, swords can rust and become weaker, or they can be tempered to become stronger. Wands can do that, barring one exception. So why would you want a wand if it cannot be improved and also it only hits for 1 extra damage? It's because they actually give you a percentage increased damage if you are using mixed magic. Mixed magic is when your monster is actually casting a spell into your weapon and then you're hitting them. And since the base damage of mixed magic is so high, a percentage increase is always going to be stronger than just the +1 to +5 you're going to get from a weapon. So unless you had like a weapon so improved that it would be like +60 something. Obviously, at that point, mixed magic is not going to compare too much. But obviously, in a speedrun, we never get to do that. It just takes too long, and it requires a crazy amount of RNG to be on your side. So, mixed magic it is, and a wand will always going to be our first choice. Now, if you get a wand that matches the element of the spell you're trying to cast, a dragon will cast Fire Sword. If you get a Fire Wand, that percentage increase is actually going to get compounded onto itself. You're going to get 2 times the bonus, right? And so that makes it even stronger. There are also elemental sword. They're going to give you 1 time the bonus if the sword matches the element of your spell. Fire sword would increase 1 time by a percentage your fire spells. And it's also going to give you a flat amount of damage because it's a sword, right? So there's a lot of weapons, and you kind of need to get to learn a little bit about that. But to be frank, right now, Gulf Wind Sword, which is what Reven has equipped, is really, really bad. He doesn't even use a wind spell right now. And what Poulet is using is very standard. It's a wand. It has a chance to paralyze, but honestly, you don't want to bank on that. But just to have the fact that he's got a wand, I guess, is a lot better than what Reven's got in his hand right now.
Reven was in a very tough spot for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know whether it was calculated or whether it was luck. But basically, he got hit by a Garuda. And he's sort of low level. That Garuda hit very hard for 22 HP. He was left with 20 HP. He was hoping to heal himself with Batnel while using... and he had 2 Garudas next to him while using one of the spellballs to get rid of that Garuda. He had only 20 HP, so he couldn't take another hit from the Garuda. We knew that. So he was hoping that this healing spell would heal him faster before the Garuda attacks, while one of the spellballs will dispose of the other Garuda. But unfortunately, due to how turn order works, is that like those spells will take action after the monster.
Oh yeah.
So again, whether it was calculated or not, because one of the spells killed the Garuda, like it was probably calculated by Reven, and at that time he got a level, so he got 3 HP to what he had. So he had exactly 23 HP. That was probably enough to survive the hit from the Garuda, which did get the first hit before Reven was able to heal himself.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, it didn't really matter in the end because Reven had a leather shield that worked for him very well. He avoided that attack altogether. But that was very tough situation. That was the difference pretty much between the water element and fire element. The higher we are in the tower, the bigger the differences will be in the attack power of whatever dragon can offer and whatever Batnel has in his bag. We could see that at the same time Poulet was pretty easily going through all those floors because, for example, Garudas are wind monsters, so they were no problem for a dragon at all. But now that they are going into a territory of water monsters, Poulet may be able to like take a little bit more time, for example, with spiders, while Reven should be able to fight them a little bit easier. So let's see how this unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were talking about damage, and I think you touched about it a little bit. The shield they are wearing right now is called a leather shield, and it's definitely, in my opinion, the best shield in the game, bearing none, even though mirror shield could be a contender if you really wanted to argue about it. Leather shield is the weakest shield in the game. It gives you 1 defense, and defense in this game is terrible. It actually you require 2 points of defense to reduce damage by 1. So the leather shield actually doesn't necessarily even reduce damage you're taking by 1, only if it was an uneven number of damage you were going to take. So it's terrible. But yeah, 1 damage, one defense, fine. Yeah, we'll take it. But it increases your chance to dodge, and it's actually a very high amount. To be very honest, the formula is a little bit complicated, but to put it into simple perspective, it's based off a lot of lucks and stuff that are fluctuating in the background, but around about 4% chance to dodge normally with a leather shield, around about 12%. That pretty much triples your chance to dodge. 12% might seem low, and it is, but we're gonna take like in the 70 amount of damage soonish. And even if we had the best shield ever, which is a diamond shield, gives you 7 points of defense, we would be reducing the damage by like what, 3, maybe 4? What does it changes? Like what at the end of the day, what does that even change? And so an increased chance to dodge is much better.
Oh yeah, definitely, because like SandKnight mentioned, okay, we will decrease our damage by few HP, but we will still die in 2 hits. So what's the difference?
If not 1.
Yeah, if not 1. So basically, it's definitely better to be able to take additional hit than just like have a small damage reduction.
Oh yeah. So that's one of your tricks, Chai. But we're seeing on Reven's side of the screen is manipulating turn order and making sure that the picket decides to attack, but then we move out of the way before it does. So even though pickets generally are able to move twice for our 1, they are not able to hit our boy. But that new picket can, because the turn order is not being manipulated for that one yet. And that's scary. During that time, Poulet Santat has been blinded. Oh, that's a trap room if I've ever seen one. Blind is very scary in this game because in a normal RPG, you would assume it will reduce your chance to hit. It really doesn't do that in that one. It actually blackens the screen and you can't see anything. And that's very scary in a game where everything can one-shot you. But he used a Holy Scroll, which generally you would use to throw at an enemy and turn them into a friend temporarily, like a charm. You can use it on yourself, and it makes you invincible for a few turns. It doesn't last too long, but it's generally around about the time or the duration the blindness would last anyway. So, you just don't want to take any chances there.
Yeah. I know that Reven personally hates pickets, and I'm pretty sure that he's cursing them right now because they are giving him so much trouble. They're not very powerful, but they're more annoying than anything. They can first of all take away some of your items that you don't want to lose, and second thing is that they are time waste if anything else, because Reven is water, pickets are wind. It would take him quite a while to fight them. He doesn't want to do it. So he's just trying to run away from them. But because they have this double movement trait, they're still able to usually attack you at least once. So yeah, that was quite a tough situation for Reven, quite annoying one to encounter so many pickets. In the meantime, Poulet is flying through the floors.
Oh, yeah.
I mentioned earlier that he might have a little bit tougher situation because his dragon is fire and he was on water floors. Yeah, he changed his dragon to water element, and all water monsters suddenly became, again, nothing but just a little bit of a time loss, not a threat at all.
Yeah, dragon fodder for sure. Dragon is such a strong monster, and you really want to have one on your side if you can. And he's using that to his best. Lucky was gonna take a hit, but then a paralysis one comes in handy and paralyzes the Viper, and we are actually out of the Picket's territory, so Reven can breathe for a little bit, but there's actually a small chance to get to see a Picket on floor 25. There is actually a special albino Picket that can spawn for a quest, and it's always going to spawn on floor 25. It can still spawn even if you have not started the quest, but instead of being the albino one, it's going to spawn a normal one. It's kind of rare, to be honest, so they shouldn't see one necessarily, or maybe just the one. But it's obviously not something you want to get to see. Once you're at floor 20, the only thing that's nice about floor 20, because it's terrifying, is the fact that at least there's no more pickets, but maybe there's actually going to be some.
What is Poulet doing? Oh, he is releasing his Battle. But one thing
yeah.
about Poulet's screen, I didn't notice until now. He's not using any HUD.
Oh yeah,
What
no
happened
you.
to his HUD?
Yeah, don't even know what level he's at. Don't even know how much HP he's got. Well, you can always open the. Oh, we have some egg strats. I like it. The Vipers are actually going to completely stop whatever they're doing, and they're going to go for the egg if the egg and you are in the same room as the Viper. So one of the strategy here is to just put the egg behind you, and it's gonna, instead of attacking you, it's gonna try to go around, and then you can pick up the egg and put it somewhere else, and just juke and juggle the Viper's AI, or it's a grow, and then you can whack it during that time. So that was pretty well played by Reven here, making sure it doesn't get hit by those pesky Vipers. We are already on floor 27, but I mean, honestly, there was a little bit of a elevator train going on here, and Reven is not too far behind. Like, it's a few floors, but I feel like unless Poulet still gets very lucky with his elevator, and that's the same luck that Reven's gonna get, like it's the same floor, right? We should see Reven catch up really quickly.
And now Reven actually increased his damage by a lot because he was able to finally find a wand, and it's not just any wand,
Yeah.
but it's a wand that matches his element. So his attack at the moment pretty much doubled, I would say.
Oh
and yeah, even though like he's probably still would have a little bit tough time fighting wind monsters, being water and all, but still, the moment he starts fighting some water monsters or fire monsters, now he's finally able to like breathe a little bit, because that Gulf Wind sword, that wind element sword, was not giving him like doing him any favors.
Yeah, and one of the things that's interesting, we were talking earlier about the fact that any traps or spells that deals damage in this game is fire. That's true also for the balls you can find on the floors. Water elemental balls are always going to be defensive or healing. Winds are going to be status downs and stuff like that, status manipulation. And fire is going to be damage, right? So if you have a water monster and a water wand, you can dispatch easily fire monster because you're strong against them. You can dispatch quite easily water monster, you're neutral against them, and your setup's pretty good. Only the wind monster are pretty much a problem, so just have a few fireballs in your inventory, like Reven's got, and you can one-shot them because fire spells against a wind monster, that's complete annihilation. So as long as you can keep a few of those charges on those balls, you can actually get pretty far using that strategy for sure.
Oh yeah, and Reven was sort of in a little bit of a pickle here. He picked up a fight with a snowman, and snowmans are quite annoying in that sense that they have lots of HP. Even though Reven's damage is now quite good. Ooh. Can you touch on that, SandKnight? And after that, I'll finish my thought. What just happened?
Okay, so what just happened here is that special enemy is called a Maneva. It's a yellow blood above whatever, and that thing is a problem because the first time you encounter them on floor 5, they're pretty much just a little bit tanky, they're decentish, they're enemy, they're a pain, you can't pick them up, right? But they disappear for a few floors, and when you reach floor 15, 16 or so, I don't ever remember, they come back. Oh! It's not gonna be enough! He's got some elf though, he's good, he's good!
Yeah, but it's like he needs to do something about it because previously he had a Holy Bell. Holy Bell was a like, you know, out of jail.
Oh, that's not going to be enough.
Will it? Will it be enough?
Maybe with the kick.
Oh,
just so.
Lucky
wow, that might have been calculated, but wow. Okay. Yeah, there we go.
And there was a frog trap, so that's a very annoying room. Reven could have easily died there. Luckily, he was able to get out of this situation, and now he's got his HP recovering machine that is so easy to recover MP. He's back in business.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, going back to what I was saying before was that actually Reven was not able to like dispatch of that snowman without getting a hit, and he sort of gambled there because yes, the next hit would have killed the snowman, but should he miss, if the snowman hit the Batnel, that Batnel would have been done for. But yeah, luckily for Reven, he was able to get out of that situation, and now his run continues. while the Poulet is already on floor 230. So we've got Reven being 2 floors behind. That's not a big lead for
No.
Poulet, especially that they don't have a monster like a Garuda that can, take them to elevator in matter of seconds. So yeah, it's still a game, and definitely Reven has a good chance to take over Poulet. Let's see how it unfolds.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things is starting to compound pretty high onto Reven's side of screen is he's using his ability from his Betnel to heal himself, and these animation is starting to stack up quite a bit. I think he's losing a lot of time on that actually, even though he might think that it's helping, and it is. Poulet is just using AI1, which I think is faster to dispatch enemy quickly instead of taking hits and then healing them. I think this is starting to compound a little bit too much over on itself, and Reven will have to kick it into the second gear pretty soon. And we get another one. Yeah, I need to explain that. Okay, so these Manivas, we talked about it earlier. We got caught because a thing happens, obviously. But these guys, when they are wandering around, if they are not aggroed to anything, they might actually end up touching an item. And once they do that, they can decide to transform into that item. So it seems to have 2 copies of the same item close to one another. If it's a coin, it's scary because that's something that happens all the time in the tower normally, so you would not necessarily suspect it. And yeah, see those 2 coins outside on the left side of Reven's screen? Oh, he's lucky. Wow, he got unlucky, but lucky. But at the end of the day, Manivas are very, very scary. If you find items that are 2 of the same item, one to the side of the other, you kind of need to run away from that. And yeah, they're everywhere right now. And he's going to get pincered as well. Or actually, he's going to have to face only the Maniva, but he needs to face it now.
I think he should be able to handle that Maniva, probably.
If he starts using... Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay.
He's delaying the Maniva's movement so that the snowman can go away. And apart from the snowman, the Naplas can go away.
As well, yeah.
And then he walks away. So the strategy that Reven is using is sort of a double-edged sword because yes, that stops the Maniva from following you and attacking you, but that pretty much blocks that path for you because you cannot get back to that path without waking up the Maniva. And the problem is that when you wake it up, you have to take the first hit unless you use your inventory, and you first of all have the inventory to make it happen. But yeah, so luckily for Reven, he was able to get out of that floor, that very pesky floor with Manoivas everywhere, and now his run continues.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very high level of play we can see on both sides, to be honest. They're really using every trick inside the book, and that's really what separates a good runner from a great runner. That's what I like to see is just an amount of knowledge you're going to gain by playing this game and playing over and over and seeing playstyle from a runner to another. Some of them are definitely like we all got a playstyle, right? There's all things or strategies that we like to use more than others, but by watching other players play, you're going to start to integrate some of their strategies into yours. Some of them you might like, some of them you'll be like, no, I'm not going to use it. And then you're going to see them play for a while and be like, oh, I really should have.
We can see quite a difference between Poulet and Reven. They're not far apart. I think it's still 2 floors only, but the difference in level and in HP is quite immense.
Oh yeah, Poulet has always been a scrapper. If he can get a very, very fast run, he's gonna take it. But when he can actually just fight his way through, he's gonna do that as well. He likes to scrap as long as he knows that the fight is gonna go fast and he can take a hit. And yeah, the difference in HP is not that huge, it seems, but it's really big because some of these enemy can do 71, but they won't do 85.
Like for example, the one that we see right now on Poulet's side. Very friendly looking monsters with 2 axes instead of hands. So yeah, that's one of the scariest monsters in the tower in terms of like sheer physical damage, because its trait is that it has much higher chance to do a crit, and when it crits, it crits. So yeah, definitely at this point, Reven probably wouldn't be able to take a single hit, even non-crit from a killer. So in that
I don't think Poulet can take a crit either.
Definitely not a crit, but a single hit. You'll be able to take. Yeah.
And the problem is they have around about 25% chance to crit onco all the time, and they have an ability that if they use it, they crit. That's it. So it's more than 25% chances you take that into account. It's that plus the amount of chance that they use their ability. That's very scary. We get to see the egg bomb of a Picket on the Poulet on that side. He's not going to be happy about that, but at least it's not in as bad a situation as Reven was when that happened. Only 2 floors difference. That means that there was not an increase in difference. They're still keeping at 2 floor difference. So that's good for Reven. He doesn't want to see that getting deeper and deeper. Yeah, we're going to have to move out of the way here.
Yep. One thing that I would like to mention is, that was a very scary.
Small mistake, yeah.
Yeah, I want to mention about that before I will continue with my previous thought. So yeah, that was a Golem Boy. It's a wind monster, and even though Dragon has extreme defense, that could have ended very, very badly, very, very quickly. And I think it's because the Dragon has very good defense, it was able to survive that single hit at elemental disadvantage. Otherwise, any other monster would have been probably done for with a single hit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Dragon are so strong, both in the strength and defense department.
What I wanted to mention is, let's look at the time. Now we are crossing 38-minute mark, and they're still like having, 7 or 9 floors in case of Reven before the tower is finished. And let's compare it to the first round where where they've done like 25-27 minute runs. So that's pretty much the difference between Garuda and not Garuda. So yeah, I'm actually sort of happy that we were able to showcase this. I can tell you one thing's for sure, it's not engineered. All those seeds are completely random. You had no idea what the monsters would be. We are just happy that that it happened. At least I am.
Yeah, so am I as well. It's really nice to see like what all the games has to offer. There's obviously others situation that I really like to see. Mostly, we got to see Garuda that shows us like the craziest, fastest time and whatever, and just ignoring the enemies and stuff like that. And we also get to see like having a very good monster, but where you have to actually fight and encounter and everything and stuff like that. What I really like to see is when the racer or the runners have to face off against each other, but in very bad situation. Like, not a good monster, not too many good items as either. It's really nice to see those situations where it's just, like, famine seed, we call them. You know, nothing just seems to come in. And then you have to use all the tricks in the books and all your any amount of wits you have to try and get out of those situations and survive as long as you can. These runs obviously generally don't reach floor 40 and might even die very early, but I love them because that's where you see like the runners at their stretch as thin as you can get them, and I love that.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, this game, even though there is so much RNG in it, there are so many things about which you really cannot do anything because you have to like walk on tiles, unfortunately, to get to elevator. And when you walk on tiles, you can hit a trap, and somebody can go left, somebody can go right, and you will hit an elevator, and the other person will hit a monster that we didn't touch upon yet. Maybe we'll see it a little bit later on. But yeah, there is so much RNG, but in the end, it is important how our runners are executing the tower.
Yes.
So watching how those different brains work, what kind of ideas they have about the situations, that's the beauty of the game, and I love it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. To me, it's all about like seeing those brains firing off in all directions at the same times, and seeing how you can tackle very different situations. What Reven is in right now is a situation that Poulet was, and he used an ice rock to gain time, create distance, use fireballs. Reven is actually going to go and face it off in melee using his bat now. I think he used a Mal Seed? Not even, okay. I assume he hopes that the Batnel is going to heal itself. Okay, no, it's good. But that's 2 very different approach to the same problem we see. And I like seeing like the styles of the runners. And if you are part of the community for long enough, you actually can know for a fact that watching these 2 runners without having their name on stream, I could still tell you this is Poulet, this is Reven. That was close, but that's fine. That's fine. He got time to regenerate. I assume he's going to open the menu and see how much HP he's got.
I want to see the HP.
He's going to show it, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. It was at very low HP.
Yeah.
So yeah, that Batnel, I think it was left with 7 HP after the fight with the Glacier. And dragons are one of those monsters that have a ranged spell,
Mhm.
and they're very happy to use it whenever
Oh,
they
yeah.
have a chance. So they
And
just did, and they used it on the Batnel. Luckily, like SandKnight mentioned, it was able to recover enough HP throughout the time that with this elemental advantage over dragon, it lost only
Mhm.
15 HP, survived. And we have to remember that Reven already used on the previous floor or 2 floors back his dragon egg. So now
Oh, yeah.
Reven doesn't have any backup. It's Batnel or nothing.
Oh yeah, and the dragon here on Poulet's on that side he's actually dueling dragon, which is crazy. But we have it clear. We have it
GG.
clear. GG for Poulet Santé. They really don't want to let it go, and I love it. This is a race. We're gonna get to a third one. It's 1 point on each side. These guys are crazy. I love it. Like, cannot even get to a 2-0. No. 1 game on each side. It's going to be cleared in 3. That's madness. We're going to get more Azure Dream guys in chat. I hope you are hyped. This is madness.
That is super nice to see that they're all tied up 1-1. That's
Oh, yeah.
crazy. I got, I don't know if this is 100% correct, but I got Poulet clocked in at a 42-44.
Which is pretty good.
That is really good for the tournament settings.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And no, Mash, you're not gonna get to sleep soon. We are keeping you hostage for yet another match of Azure Dreams. We cannot leave before we know who of these two titans is actually gonna be the winner.
And it's not just any match, because sometimes the third match is something we call a friendly third, but not here. It's definitely not gonna be friendly, very unfriendly. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a decider, but before that happens, let's see how Reven finishes the tower, because of course he's so close. Or maybe
let's
not.
See. Well, let's see how the tower finishes off Reven. Yeah, let's see how the tower finishes off Reven. It's almost the same sentence, but
that's a commentary curse. I'm sorry for that, Reven. I'll apologize to you later. But
it's
yeah,
not like they could hear you, so it's all good.
But yeah, so now we'll see something that is also a thing in Azure Dreams community, and is actually a thing for any percent going without familiar. This is what our world record pretty much is. Or, well, it doesn't count because it has a Garuda. But it's many times we are going without familiar to increase our speed. Because if you don't have a familiar, you don't have a chance to fight. You don't fight, and usually not fighting is faster. Of course, it's less safe, but let's see how Reven can tackle the situation.
Yeah, we have some strategies up our bag to manipulate enemies into not aggroing ourselves. So once you're aggroed like this maximum, which is the name of the enemy, it is aggroed. There's not too much you can do, and that trap will make sure that there's nothing he can do. Okay, no, he's got an exit.
He doesn't want to manipulate. Perfect. But what to do about the second maximum?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
He still has resources. He can use.
Oh, he doesn't have that much.
Pillar would kill.
I think so. Yeah. He's at level 21 now.
There is flame, and there is poison as well. No, pillar wouldn't kill, I think, or maybe I
would have gone with poison after the first one.
Yeah.
All right. But I guess it's not time to think. It's time to act, right? Get an egg. That's good.
That's a good one. That's of course Reven will not hatch that egg because it's way too late. Right now this egg will be used just as a defensive mechanism. We've seen that before. Whenever he's got a chance, he's gonna toss it in an enemy to make it like protect him as a one-time thingy. And at this floor, though, the monsters that can be in those eggs are usually like powerful enough to be able to dispose of anything that is on the floor. Not like we've seen before that there is a picket.
It's also important to know that when you do an egg bomb, which is the action of throwing an egg, the enemy will spawn in it only once, but the reason why it's so powerful is during an egg bomb, an enemy spawning, a monster spawn at your level plus 50, so that would be a level 72 monster that would spawn and hit. So even though it would be like a one-on-one kind of thing.
There you go.
Wow, there you go. It's crazy because it's under the hour, both runners clearing both times. So even though there's a winner and a loser, I mean, they both cleared the game. Now, they had some luck behind them. That's good. I mean, you use that. It doesn't make it an easy game. I want to see that third run be a little bit tougher. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but I'd like to see that.
Oh
Yeah, that
yes, and
was
night. Oh, go
super
ahead.
intense. You got the adrenaline going through me again. Like, I don't think I'll be able to sleep right away after this. So thanks.
That's a good thing, right?
Oh
You're
yeah,
never gonna
definitely.
sleep. If I
But
can do something about it, Mash, you're never sleeping again.
but yeah, I fully agree with you, SandKnight. You're way too generous. I really hope that
Yeah.
the third seed that you gave them will be a famine one, and they will have to show us like how well their brain works.
Yeah, absolutely. The first 2 seed was to lull them into a false sense of security, but they're going to be resetting soon. 1965, is that the seed we're looking for?
Give me a second. I'm
I'll go
checking.
and check. Yeah.
1965. Yes, that is correct.
All right, excellent. So that's going to be our third seed. So maybe my mojo is not working today, but generally my seeds are terrible. Today they've been great. So I hope this means, I assume it means that this is just like I said, lulling them into a false sense of security so they can suffer even more during the third seed. So we need Monster Den. We need some of that mojo going on. We need traps galore. We need, but not to kill them necessarily fast. We want them just to, let it fester. We want it to suffer a little bit. That might not happen. I don't know. Like I said, I generate the seeds, but I don't test them before we run. We want to be as surprised as you are when we see the actions coming in. 1965, that's a good seed. We can get them running. Chai is going to be making sure that they are counted down and ready for the third race. But during that time, chat, if you are here, why not take a second and tell us what you like to see as a third monster as a starter? Personally, I'd like to see maybe a Dreamin', um, maybe we I don't know, yeah, something that's kind of weak. Like a Golem would be interesting because even though it's very powerful, it spends MP at twice the rate. So we got 2 monsters that was pretty much infinite MP, and MP was not a problem. Maybe he had some of that into the fold, right? So a Golem, a Maximum, Dreaming is pretty weak. Maybe a Picket, that's not necessarily the greatest either. Maybe getting some of that action going on. But if we got a troll in the first one, which is pretty terrible, but then you get an egg inside the tower that gives you another chance at a good monster. And at that time, they got Garuda, so we want to see 2 bad monster. If we got only one and then a good one, they're just gonna ditch the first one and take the second one, obviously. So we need 2 meh monster to start the game. Yeah, Palumpa Dreaming would be like a very good combo, or a very bad combo, should I say. I mean, Palumpa as a starting monster is not horrible. Weedog. All right, that's not good. That's not good. Perfect.
But
it's fine.
In a sense, it's another monster that sort of has infinite MP, although its infiniteness of MP is a little bit more troublesome. But yeah, that's a monster that usually is considered like meh.
Yeah, it's very meh. And it's a fire, so Vanilla, Weedog. It's gonna have its spell Awaken though, so I think it's Brid, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there we go, Brid. So at least the mixed magic is pretty good. But I assume that's gonna be a Hatch of a Hag really quickly because Weedog meh. Oh, Dark Sword start. Okay. Mirror Shield Dark Sword. Interesting.
Ball?
I didn't get
Pillar.
This.
Oh, that's a really
Pillar is
good.
Good. Pillar is good.
So
okay.
Dark Sword is something that makes it most probably that our runners will actually not be using Mixture Magic in the beginning. Because Mixture Magic is a little bit slower. Okay, or maybe they will. But the fact is that this Dark Sword is this like strongest weapon in the game. And in in the early floors, you can just attack, and it's more than enough to like dispose of everything pretty quickly. The downside is that it has a little bit lower hit chance, but yeah, again, early floors are fairly safe, so even if they miss a little bit here or there, that shouldn't be much of a problem for our run.
And he says a little bit less accuracy. It's a lot less accuracy. It's crazy. So luck is a fluctuating thing. It goes up and down and up and down. At the top of your accuracy, generally you would have around about 99% chance to hit. And at your lowest bound, like when you're at your worst luck, in the fluctuation, you would get around about 91%. So it's always in between those two values. The Dark Sword is 91 at best, which is the worst of the other sword, and it's 75 at worst. So that's a lot of misses we should be seeing going on. And once they start missing, they might miss a lot, because if you are the lower part of your curve with that 75% chance to hit, then you're gonna stay there for a few turns before it starts going back up. So once they start missing, they should start missing maybe a lot, like at 2 or 3 times in a row if they're unlucky. But yeah, luck is a thing. Now,
Correct,
they have a
SandKnight, but with the slack, it works this way that first it goes up, and only after like I think 1,000 something turns it starts going down. So like before that happens, probably our runners will be already like a couple floors up, explore a little bit. They'll be a little bit higher level, and they most probably will, or hopefully they will find the wand, because as amazing as Dark Sword is. It's good in the beginning. Later on, you definitely want to switch to a wand. So this having bad luck, bad hit chance coming into play, we might not even see it because our runners will not get to a situation or not get to a point where their luck is low enough to actually cause all of those misses.
Oh yeah. But I was gonna say they picked up a fire sword, and if it was me, I would have used the fire sword right away. Would not even have messed with the Dark Sword. And we saw that on Poulet on that side. He switched to Fire Sword. There was the risk of being cursed, which would have been terrible, and I understand Reven for not doing it, but I just would have gambled that for sure. And it paid off on Poulet on that side. The Fire Sword is not cursed, and because it's a Fire Sword and you're using Fire Mixed Magic, you get the same bonus you would have gotten with a wand, just because they're matching, and you also get 5 attack power from the sword, which is actually huge. It's gonna dwindle off the higher level they're gonna get, but right now 5 damage is a lot. But again, Dark Sword is not 5, it's plus 10. It's gigantic. There's no sword that come close to it. Even the sword you get for beating the game is 8 damage. That Dark Sword gives you 10. That's gigantic. That's enormous. But again, the accuracy drop is kind of a big deal also. But we're gonna see that into action, I assume. Reven is doing pretty well with it, so that's not a bad choice, just a preference thing. I preferred Fire Sword here.
I think Reven must be thinking this way, that I'll be fighting directly because it's faster. It's definitely faster in terms of like animation and everything. And in the beginning, the amount of turns that were needed to dispose of the monster was pretty much the same when they were using, or when Poulet is using Fire Sword. So Reven was thinking, okay, I will keep my Dark Sword a little bit longer because I can gain probably some time with it. And when I get to a higher level, when this mixture magic actually gets a little bit stronger percentage-wise, that's when I will switch to the Fire Sword. At least that's what I'm thinking that Reven must have been thinking. But
I think so too.
Make no mistake, he will move to a Fire Sword if he doesn't find the Scarlet one quickly enough.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, to be honest. I would have. I think that's the safest play out of the two. And you saw Reven actually get a crit on the Flame Sword with the Dark Sword. That dealt 34 points of damage. I mean, you can't argue Dark Sword is the play here. It's a very, very strong weapon, but again, it's going to be too soon.
I think I would have gone with the strategy that Reven is using, because again, it's sort of a time save. Oh, it's a disappointment. I don't know, did Poulet catch the egg? I didn't notice it earlier.
I don't think so, and that's the play here because that balloon is terrible. Honestly, as monsters goes, Wee Dog and Balloon are pretty much terrible, both of them. But we do give a special treatment to the monster that replaces Cuny on the bridge. We awaken its dormant spell. Now, if it would have been the other way around, like the Balloon would have been the starting monster and the Wee Dog would have been in the initial egg, it would have been the other way. They would have played the other monster, right? The point here is the awaken spell is what's good, not necessarily the monster wielding it. So they're going to keep the Wee Dog just because it's got Brid, and they won't use the Balloon because it's terrible and doesn't have its spell awaken, which would have been Breath and Brid, pretty much interchangeable, especially if you're not going to cast manual.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we just saw a little bit tough situation on Reven's side where his Widok was sort of in a pickle because he was close to a U-boat. U-boats are very powerful. They have elemental advantage over Widok.
Yes.
So yeah, but luckily for Reven, he was able to still move away and find elevator fairly enough. He is now in a lead. This lead, this early on, is not, of course, like a game changer yet, but a lead is a lead. So
you definitely take it.
I guess the strategy of using Dark Sword paid off.
Yeah, it didn't only pay off because Reven took the time to edge the egg, which Poulet just finishes doing. So there's that as well. Like they both have that knowledge now, but for a second, Reven was in the lead and he had knowledge of what's inside the egg, which was doubling down on what Poulet was having. But now Poulet is back on track, at least in terms of knowledge about what's in the egg. He knows it's garbage. Like, obviously, the fastest thing would have been to never hatch it. But when you are in a situation like this one, you just want to know, like, this wee dog is not necessarily pulling off its weight. So what do I get in the egg? Hopefully something that's going to help me, like a U-boat, for example.
Oh, yeah. So we mentioned earlier that we want a little bit of a meh monster, and I somehow feel that this Widok is still a little bit too powerful for what we were hoping for, because even though it's not a good monster per se, like SandKnight mentioned, spell is awoken. Its hidden spell is awoken, so we can always use it pretty much as any other familiar that has a sword mixture magic, which is what most runners use. This is the most common mixture magic for everyone.
Oh yeah.
Dreamin' MVP.
Actually, every fire monster that have a dormant spells awaken, they're all good, no exception.
Exactly.
Like the only one that's a little bit weird is Barong. It's a different spell, but it's also quite good in terms of mixed magic. So it's just another thing, right? So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter which fire monster you get, as long as it's a fire monster natively and its spells awoken. It's always going to be a fine strategy, quotation mark here. But again, in terms of fire monster, if you want to separate them, if the spell doesn't matter too much as long as it gets one, then it's going to be like the stat, the defense, the attack. Can you pick it up and stuff like that? And all those things are bad on a wee dog. So, like, it's good, but it doesn't have anything more than just a spell.
So yeah, Reven was quite a good dancer in the previous game. He was dancing with 3 U-boats at the same time. Now he has a little bit of a trouble dancing with 2 of them.
Oh, what? It was a mistake.
That was a mistake. Luckily, he hides his wee dog to save him.
Oh yeah.
Now has to run away on his own.
Oh yeah. Yeah, less of a good dancer right now. He stepped on the toe of his partner, and his partner's not quite happy about that. But I mean, he's still alive, so that's good. He's gonna dance a little bit more. Is he gonna risk the pickup? Because if that's failed, that's gonna hurt. Oh, Reven, my boy. Oh, you lucky. But again, that's not necessarily good because that, yeah, he's gonna retrace his steps. I don't know.
I guess take a hit from a U. Oh no.
I don't know. Yeah, there we go. All right.
Oh, I don't know. Now that clown is aggroed, so now it's a little bit tougher situation.
Oh yeah.
Or
he was gonna get. He doesn't have a choice here. He needs to move up. Yeah, the clown's aggroed. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's getting scary really quickly. Yeah. He really needs to not have a monster come from in front. It's fine. He can dance with that one.
Okay. Now he's dancing again with 3.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's his. The 4th one, he wants to break a record.
How many U-boats can you dance with at the same time?
Yeah.
All right. So during that time though, that's a lot of time spent to actually try and find an elevator. If that doesn't happen, well, actually, it's not a good situation to put us on that side either. Yeah. You can go around that, I think. What is he doing?
Reven, you are in a very tough spot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What to do here?
Suffer? So, what did I say? Okay, yeah. Moving around is definitely the way to go here. He needed to do that. Now, the problem is he's low health. He doesn't have a pet out. And if he gets into a pincer situation again, it's going to be terrible. Now, you cannot retrace his step because on the tile where there's a U-boat, there is also a... Oh, that's bad. That's bad. He's fine. Lower elevation. That lower elevation
saved him, and there are only 2 rooms, and luckily
and he's out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure we should call that lucky, but I mean, after a series of unlucky stuff happening, I guess that was a lucky thing.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to be rushing for that elevator. I think. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, my health seat is the right.
There you go. One,
You
two,
need to
three,
catch
four.
a breath first to be
Yeah,
able
and
to.
that room was not gonna give him any break. But during that time, Poulet did not catch up, but he's getting quite close to where Reven is. And the most important thing, he's at the same level, but he's definitely in a better situation. His Wee Dog is out, and his HP is fine. Whereas Reven could not catch his breath still. I mean, he's got the HP, but oh no, his speed is fine. 16 is not too terrible. They're gonna both want to get some experience from this floor. Potentially from the Dreamin', that's definitely the main target here. You don't want to continue exploring on level 6. That's way too low. I could see why you would try to do that, but yeah, here we go. A fine play. Go on.
And we can see that Reven has already switched to a fire sword, right? Oh, it doesn't matter Reven no more. SandKnight, I want to hear from you the hype that you usually have for this kind of situation. Go on.
Which one? Did you get a Scarlet one?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. Scarlet hype. Let's go. I want to see some Scarlet action going on. Scarlet is a 1, so you get a bonus damage from getting a spell onto your weapon. That's called mixed magic. We want to see that all the time. But you also get a bonus because that weapon, Scarlet, is actually a fire wand, and it gives you an increased percentage bonus because it's matching the element of the spell you're casting. Those two bonus added together creates a very powerful attack. Now, we were talking about any fire. Mixed magic is always going to be good. But once you get Scarlet running, it's absolutely the best strategy ever. Doesn't even matter that Wee Dog is a garbage pet right now. Just because we have a Scarlet one and a Flame Sword spell running, it's going to work. I mean, obviously you can still die. It's always a scary game, but they have the firepower. They traded their stick for a nuke. Can still lose with a nuke, I guess. But, I mean, yeah. Infinite nuke that can't hit you, right? Good.
Yep. And we can see that Poulet actually takes the lead here now because Reven found an egg, was it floor 8 or 9, which I presume Poulet never found. And Reven knows that this egg can be something good. Probably U-boat, maybe. Unfortunately, Noiva. So yeah, that seems to have been a time waste for Reven, but he didn't know. Now he knows.
Yeah, once you get the Scarlet one, I'm not sure you're etching here. I mean, obviously U-boat would have been absolutely great, but I don't think you try to do that because what are you going to get that's better than what you have right now? I mean, yeah, obviously U-boat is great. Not necessarily. With a Scarlet, I don't think I'd go Clown.
I would go Clown any time of the day, especially with the rules that we have right now, because normally when you have a spell, that spell can level up only when the monster has the same element as the spell originally is. So for example, for Clown Lowdown, the spell is wind. You can level up that spell only when the Clown is wind. And of course, like we touched about it upon it earlier, wind is sort of not the most favorite element, but we are using a rule set where the spell can level up at any element, and that makes it Clown especially powerful because its trait is double level for every spell. And Cloud's mixture magic is ranged.
Yes.
And when you have a ranged magic that is double level because of that trait, it makes it so that pretty much everything you can kill at range. Of course, if it comes next to you, you still will be at trouble, but you can try make it so that it will not even come close to you.
Yeah,
so,
and Reven,
I personally love it.
Yes, and it's great. Reven took back the lead again. We have a race, guys. Get hype in chat. This is gonna get really interesting really fast. And I know Poulet won't let that run for a long time. I mean, he got to fight back. But Reven taking the lead, and he's actually already 2 floors ahead. Yeah, 15 against 13. And that's going to be 16 really close because, well, he's actually going to grind that Garuda. I like it. All right, let's go. He knows he's behind in terms of experience, and he is. So a little level up here is going to help a lot. Yep, Binding Ball is a great find. Now we know that Poulet is going to also get that Binding Ball. But Reven knows he's got that in his inventory and his back pocket, and he knows that he can paralyze an enemy at will. Well, almost every enemy is at will. There's going to be at least 4 charges in that ball. It could be up to 7 as well. So that's a great find. On the Poulet side of the screen right now, we can see a Kraken. We haven't touched about Kraken too much, but they are the worst. They are a very terrifying enemy, and the reason why is they have so many stats. They're so strong, and also when you hit them, they get electrified and you take damage for hitting them. It's a percentage of the damage you would have dealt or that you dealt. And also, they are water. Generally, when you're up there in the tower, you are using a fire strat most of the time. So they have elemental advantage as well. They are extremely scary. And Kraken is generally like the situation where no matter how good a resource you have, you spend it. You don't want to face a Kraken.
This is the moment when normally we would get a little bit hyped because Reven just found an egg. But yeah, so like why we would get hyped is because that egg potentially can be a Garuda. Those are the floors where the eggs can contain a Garuda. But as we mentioned earlier, a gentleman agreement between the two runners. They already showed off how Garuda is, how powerful it is, what you can do with it. They agreed that they will not use it anymore. So I'm quite sure that Reven will not even attempt to hatch it, because even if it was the Garuda and Garuda is the only thing that that would be probably better for our runners,
it can still be U-boat.
Oh, it could be a U-boat, it could be a spider and everything. But I think with this fire Scarlet Wand, I don't think that Reven wants to do or Poulet as well. They wouldn't want to change a familiar at the moment.
That makes a lot of sense, to be honest. I think that once you have a good setup like that one, even though you could get better, you just take what you have and run away with it. At some point, you're just gonna accept the strategies you're running with. And even though, potentially you could get better, that's a lot of time waste that might not pay off. And I think you just go, Wee Dog, Scarlet Wand, that's my strat, let's go.
Yep. We can see Reven actually like getting a little bit of a lead. He's now already like 3 scores ahead compared to Poulet. Poulet is taking his time. We can see that Poulet is actually higher level than Reven.
Yes.
So I think that Poulet is trying to like play it a little bit safer. Because that would be the explanation. Or maybe just Reven has a little bit better luck in going left compared to the right.
No, I think you're right. Poulet is using a lot of AI 1 strats and then AI 3 to fight his way through, which explains definitely the experience difference. The fact that they are in the same level on a different floor means a lot of things, because in this game, the enemies will generally give you a certain amount of XP, which is good. You're going to level up until you reach their level, and then the amount of XP you're going to require to get to the next level is astronomical. Makes no sense. The game really rubber bands how you level up by what floor you're on. So the fact that it would be on the same level, actually, Poulet is 1 level higher at level 11 on floor 14, is just a testament of showing how Poulet is fighting a lot and Reven is dodging as much as he can. Now, dodging is good. Dodging is faster. But, dodge with a mirror shield. Let's go.
Yeah, I sort of were afraid that that it could have been a Mano Eva. Okay, Poison Ball is not bad.
I was gonna say that's not a good play, but there we go. All right, that was a Poison Ball. I would not have stepped on it not knowing what it was, but I mean, that works.
But SandKnight, tell me one thing, like what happened to the idea of the Famine Seed? Like they're getting way too good items. Can you tweak something?
Well, look at that elevator!
Well, those 3 items are definitely like items, right?
Yep.
That is a lucky room for Reven.
That's a lucky room. Let's go, Reven. Pick him up.
There are 3 Mazar seeds.
Yeah, I think so. Go on. Pick him up.
Actually, from what we can see on minimap, 2 of the items are Mano Evas. The one on the left and the one on the elevator.
On the elevator, yeah.
Yeah, so Reven has to deal with it, and there are not many things that he can do. Probably binding. Oh, but he still needs to dispose of the one on the elevator because he's able. He's able to step on it.
Oh yeah, and now he's messing around, playing and losing turns, and that's a problem because he's just inviting more monsters into the fight that he's gonna have today.
And
Yeah,
he finally had to take the hit because there was a spider behind him.
Yeah, I
But
think Ulim's... Oh, no, okay. I
Okay.
think... Oh, that's cool! We got a giant Maneva! Oh, that's so great!
Yeah. Power
Yeah, there we
of
go.
friendship.
Yes.
That's how monsters grow.
Yeah, for some reason, when you use a Holy Scroll on an untransformed Maneva that was an item, but it's not anymore, it becomes a gigantic Maneva because reasons. And that's really great to see that into action. It's a very rare, not necessarily a bug, but I mean, yeah, I guess it's a bug. But it's such a funny thing to see, like, just the Maneva become gigantic, and let's go.
What is this thing in Pokemon? The one where makes it so that Pokemon grows. Like, I'm not a big Pokemon fan. Do you know?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I played Sword for a while. There was this thing that like makes it so that Pokemon is like really really huge. So
Gigantamax, Dynamax,
Dynamax, yeah. So like Manoiva, Dynamax.
Dynamax Maneva. All right, I love it actually. Wow, that's what it is.
But yeah, so we've seen something that I don't think that I've ever seen in any of our tournaments. So yeah, hype.
Giant Maneva? You have never seen that before? It's been a while.
I've seen that before. I haven't seen that ever in our tournament.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's quite a nice showcase.
During that time, actually, that's really interesting because Reven took a massive lead now. I know there was some kind of an elevator log that I assume Poulet is going to get some of as well, but except the one with the seed on. But right now, he's standing at what, like 5 extra floors?
Yeah.
5 floors ahead?
Every time I take a look at Reven's screen,
6
he's
floors.
using an exit loop. Like, what the heck is with that?
Yeah, they got a lot of exit loop, and Poulet did use some to be honest as well. But I mean, yeah, they've been quite lucky in finding those.
Oh yeah.
Knowing where the elevator is super easy to beeline to that location. Can use some monster manipulation to alleviate some of the danger of getting there. It's a really good item. As soon as you find them, you want to use them. Sorry about that, sir. Especially in a match where any lead you can get is really important. We didn't touch on that in the rule set too much because it rarely comes down to that, but there is a 1-hour time limit on our matches to reach the floor 40. And most importantly, if you die, you lose. Not necessarily you lose, sorry. But if you die, you cannot retry. So if you were on floor 23, like Reven is right now, the other runner has a remainder of the full hour to reach a higher level than you are. And higher is really important here as a keyword because that means that if both runners die on floor 23, for example, because that floor is terrible, that's the one that got there first that's actually going to get the win. We still want it to be as much as a speed run as it can be. Obviously, that's also a challenge run in some kind of a sense. We understand that, like it's a very random game and surviving is very important, but we didn't want to encourage people to be grinding and taking their time and just, playing very slow. That would have not been in the spirit of speedrunning. So putting the 1-hour time limit and the tie are resolved by Ugat there first completely changes how we play the game and makes it so staying there. Oh, that's bad.
What happened here? You know what happened here, SandKnight?
I don't know what happened here. Is that a
the only
Maneva?
explanation that I have is it's not a Maneva. It's not the floor where it can be a Maneva.
Yeah.
There must have been an egg on that floor, and that Viper already ate it.
Oh, Dad, there is already an egg in its belly. That
Yes.
makes so much sense. It's terrible.
You are never like accounting for that. You are thinking,
No.
oh, I can easily like manipulate the Vipers, right? Because,
Wow.
They go for eggs. What if they have already one in its belly?
Yes. Wow. That's probably what happened here. So,
Yeah.
like I said during one of the other matches just before, the Vipers will go for eggs and they'll beeline for it and they'll completely ignore you. And they're gonna eat the egg if they can reach it. But once they have an egg in their inventory, when they eat one, they actually cannot eat another one. And they revert to their normal AI. So I assume that's what's going on here. And I assume Reven is really stressed of using his strategies right now because, man, it just didn't work. And if he didn't catch on what's just happened, he's going to be like, what?
Yeah, it's not something that you see every single day. And when you see
No.
it, like, what has happened? It's not immediately that you think, oh, that Viper must have had an egg already. You're thinking, okay, something is wrong. The game glitched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
And
game
by-
does glitch once in a while, so
no, it's perfectly coded. What are you talking about? By the way, we now know that the egg that Reven has found is a Griffin egg
Yes.
because he has used truth glasses on it.
Mhm.
It's not anything super exciting. It's a little bit better, actually, a lot of better than the Wee Dog.
Oh, yeah.
I would have used it because first of all, we mentioned already, it's a liftable monster, and being liftable gives you quite an advantage. But I think it's
Yes.
also more powerful monster. So I would have taken Griffin over Wee Dog.
Yeah.
But of course, it takes time to hatch it, and Reven knows how crazy fast Poulet can be.
Oh,
So there is no time for hatching. You just have to go up, 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 up.
yeah.
If
It's much
Reven
better.
If Reven
Yeah.
were to lose that Wee Dog, which he actually did, but was able to restore it, I'm quite sure Reven would have hatched the Griffin. But
Oh, yeah.
right now, Reven is content with what he has because he doesn't have to lose any time on wasting it. Seems
Yeah,
that Reven
and-
is having hard time against stealths. Maybe you can tell us, SandKnight, a little bit about stealths.
Yeah, Stealth is a monster that can actually turn invisible on any of its turn. It can decide, well, I am invisible now. And you're going to get hit by those monsters. They're not even appearing on the minimap. So you kind of need to understand which angle you got hit by, even though there's nothing hitting you, which is scary in and of itself. But the problem is, and Chai actually found that, they can spawn already invisible. So there might not be a monster, and then there's one, and then it's invisible, and you're in trouble. So you gotta have to deal with that for sure. Stealth are not very powerful. When I say that, they still probably hit for around about 25, 30 in around those floors, I would assume. That's still a lot of health, but compared to any other monster on that set of floors, is not too high. But considering it can happen, like you're just walking around, then bam, you lost 35 health. Okay. And where did it come from? Did you actually catch that little explosion that happened somewhere around? Can you say what angle you got attacked from? That's kind of scary, right? So, yeah. Speaking of scary, though, Reven is in a very bad situation. It's the Snowman Consortium, and they're really making sure, like, yeah, they want to plant a carrot in his face.
So like, if there are so many snowmans here, can we say that, I don't know, Reven is now in Canada? No, you're in Canada. Do you have many snowmans?
Well, we do have a few, yeah. We make some.
Yeah, so luckily for Reven, he was able to leave the snowman behind. Even though there are plenty of fun, I guess he doesn't want to play with them.
Yeah, they're really scary. Chai did touch upon them a little bit earlier on, but they hit hard. They have a lot of HP. You really just don't want to mess with them. And they are water on top of everything, which makes it worse with their fire setup right now. So as much as they can avoid them, they really need to. They cannot be picked up either. That's really bad. But they can be pushed, though. So that can be a strategy. But pushing is really rare.
Yep. There is one special thing about the snowmans that can also nullify one of the strategies that our runners are using to run away from the monsters. I think we've seen it before, I think on Poulet's side. There is a spell ball called Ice Rock that creates a target for enemies that enemies really like to attack instead of you. And normally that Ice Rock has, if I recall correctly, 255 HP. So it takes quite a while for the monsters to dispose of that Ice Rock. We sometimes even call it a slow ball because it creates a target for enemies that they will whack on every single turn, and it will take them a while to destroy it. But Snowman has a special ability that can dispose of that Ice Rock ball in a single turn. So you cannot run away most of the times from a snowman with an Ice Rock ball.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that this game has a lot of enemies going on, and each of them has a little bit of a quirk that it's not necessarily game-breaking or game-changing, but it's just the first time it'll happen to you, you're going to be so disheartened to be like, okay, I don't know that enemy well, but I know, oh my god, Poulet that is in a paralysis trap. His Wee Dog is going to die to a Viper. There's absolutely no going on, and he's gonna take a hit. Is he gonna take two? Just one is fine for now, but he really needs to run away from here. Yeah, absolutely. He is fine.
Will he give up? He gives up those items.
Wow. Okay, that was scary. Paralysis trap in a Viper room is never something you want to get inside.
Basically, paralysis trap and monsters around you is a sort of a meme nowadays in our community, named after one of the people in the chat who is very, very active, Septic Tank. Whenever you die to a paralysis trap, we call it a Septic Special. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, luckily for Poulet, he didn't pull off a Septic Special.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing you want to be recognized for, but I mean, Septic Tank's got a great sense of humor. But yeah, that's scary for sure.
Yeah.
Right now, Poulet is fighting off against Vipers. He used a small item, which is a malicious scroll. Luckily, that was enough to dispatch that.
SandKnight, what do I see on Poulet's screen? His Widok died. What happened?
Oh yeah, he used the restore scroll to revive his wee dog.
I don't record this message. Like it's impossible. He despises restore scrolls.
Yes, Poulet is known inside the community to not even pick up restore scroll because they take a space in his inventory. I assume that he understands the value of it still, but he likes to just, I don't care. But this is a high-stake match, and he takes it seriously, and I like to see that he does. Reven is a great runner, and he knows that. He already lost once to him. And if he wants to keep running, you take every tool in the shed. And that shed had a resource roll, you take it.
And where is Widok on Reven's side, if we are speaking about that?
I assume it died a violent death.
Maybe.
Probably,
Maybe
yeah.
It was sacrificed to pickets, for good RNG.
Poulet is on stealth floor, so that's going to be kind of scary, but luckily he gets the elevator right away. It's going to be stealth floor for a few floors still, but I mean, I assume he's going to be mostly fine, or at least I hope he will.
Was it death or was it released? Because I don't see that Widok anymore in the inventory.
Maybe both. I guess if it died, he might have just decided to be like, that's enough.
Reven in the interview. That's one thing that I definitely am interested in. But now we'll be able to see the way the Azure Dreams was meant to play without the familiar. No, it wasn't.
It really wasn't. This game is definitely meant to be played, and that's the thing I didn't stress enough, I guess, at the beginning of the run. We did have a lot happening very fast, but most importantly, this game is supposed to be played well. There's a you can build up stuff into the town and create like this big bustling city, even though this is like a dying city. You can spend a lot of money doing that. You can date 7 girls that are pretty much your age, and you can start to create some kind of family with them. But most importantly, inside the tower where we're actually fighting, the game expects you to get up to floor, I don't know, 6, 7, then have to leave because it's too much and you're not gonna fight and win against the enemies there. And then maybe you're gonna come back and get some of your advantages back. Those level reset to level 1 every time, but the level from your pets, you keep, so you can use that to get a little bit higher and higher every time. And casually, including me and other runners, I think the average is 25 to 28 attempt before clearing the tower the first time. So doing it in one go is definitely not the way the game is supposed to be played. And if you play it casually ever, that's not the way you should be trying to attempt it either. We are professional. Don't try this at home. I mean, try it, but try it with a casual mind at first, and then come into the speedrunning with us. We're gonna teach you what you need to know.
Oh, definitely, and we will make it fun. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You will be able to hear SandKnight's puns and voice all the time. So that's one thing that definitely our community has never enough of.
What are Zoo talking about?
Boo, boo, boo. But yeah, but going back to the game.
What, you don't want me to drag on too long?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on, that one was a killer.
Well, it was.
Yes.
Chat, please help me. Please help me stop this man. I wanted to mention that Reven in the previous game has also lost his familiar, but it was around floor, what was it, 37. So he had to only climb like 2 floors with an amazing inventory. Right now, he has like more than 10 floors. Well, he had more than 10 floors to climb without the familiar. And so far he's doing great job. He doesn't have as good inventory as he had before, but his inventory is still quite okay. So he has pretty good chance of climbing the tower. Now Reven is utilizing a strategy that our SandKnight here is very fond of. So maybe you should explain it.
So these enemies actually are super trigger happy, and they will shoot a block of ice, and you can see it'll slide you up until you hit anything that can prevent you from moving, right? So any elevation, a wall, whatever. And so you can use them to some extent to shoot you wherever you want to go. Now, the scary part is it deals damage, and it deals not too much damage, but I mean, Reven is level 16, and that's really, really important right now because he's taking way too much damage from these, as he should. Okay, that's a lucky shot. You take it. I know he stopped for a second thinking I could go back and reactivate that trap and get to a random location, but that was not in the cards. So using the glaciers and putting yourself in a straight line with them, you can try to make sure, like, you can swerve left and right, and then once you're where you want to go, keep in a straight line with them and hope that it will actually kick their highest rock and slide you far away from them. They can slide you into worst, don't get me wrong, and they'll deal damage to you on top of everything. But to some extent, I have seen there's some way to alleviate the worst, I should say. There's still a bad thing could happen, but that's a fine strategy. And obviously being high sliding, we call it curling strat, and obviously being Canadian, I get told that this is a SandKnight strategy. And it might also have anything to do with the fact that I currently own the world record for the longest slide, which is 32 tiles in a row, I think, or something like that. That was a thing.
Yeah, and I'm quite sure you're very proud of that record, and you will not let anyone come even close. If somebody tries to set the record, you will reclaim it.
that would be hard. Like, I mean, if I was to try and make it better, like, because the way it happened was random, right? I was not trying to get the world record for it. 61 points of damage, that's a scary thing. And he's a one-tile corridor, that's even scarier. Because these guys can wind up their attack for one turn and then shoot their punch. When you're in a 2 tiles wide corridor, you can just swerve to the left, swerve to the right, and dodge the punch. But in a 1 tile wide corridor, you can't. So using the fireball here was really key to just moving forward. I don't know what he's going to use, but he's going to have to be a little bit risky. That paralysis can last 0 turn. Okay, good.
No, it cannot. Binding Ball is guaranteed 4 turns, always.
Yeah, but they have a chance to unparalyze every turn you're in melee with them.
Not with Binding Ball.
You sure about that?
I'm absolutely 100% sure. It's guaranteed for 4 turns.
Oh, that's so good then. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, 3 moves for Ko because the first turn.
Exactly. It's 4 turns altogether. It's because after Ko moves, the dragon has a turn, so it immediately.
But the sleep ball can last 0 turn. I'm not crazy.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. Sleep ball.
Okay. It's only sleep. All right.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
In my head, it made sense that it was both of them, but okay, that's fine.
But yeah,
I learned stuff.
Oh, good to know. No, this is exactly what we were hoping for. What Reven is showing right now.
Yes.
He is not dying. He's just using his resources to the fullest.
Well,
he's not dying.
Don't say that too quickly because. Okay, yeah, he needs to do that on the maximum behind him for it to block the road. Okay, binding will work as well. Yes. Now the problem is he's stuck in a position where, I don't know, pillar. Oh really?
Yes.
Okay, he did it in the right direction. I thought he was doing it on the maximum behind him.
He will let that maximum stay and he will kill the other one, I presume.
Yeah. That's what I think is a play here.
Yes.
He can even use a second binding ball if needs be.
If he has it. I'm not sure whether
he might not even have it, yeah.
Yes.
But that's going to be enough turns anyway. Even if it wakes up now, which it will, he can start walking around. That's fine. That was scary, but I mean, again, like these enemies are so huge, like you can't even see your character anymore, and they have the stats to back that up. They're called Maximus. They don't have anything special to them. They just hit like 5 trucks taped together with duct tape, and they will like no. Even that was scary because there was a 1 in 8 chance to be targeted by the chaos, the confused enemy, and that would have been very very bad. I'm not sure that would have been in one shot. Level 22 is you start having decentish defense. I think he would have survived, but that would have been like a very low health. Yeah, he doesn't even have anything here. He's got pillar, but that's final charge. And it's gonna. Yeah, go on.
I wanted to mention that Widogs on Poulet's side is now dead too. He died a little bit later than for Reven. I think Reven was like 28 or 29. But we have now 2 familiar-less runs.
Yeah, and the scary thing is Reven's inventory is getting a little bit thin. I don't know that he can get out of bad situation too much again. So I don't know how he's going to get out of those situations, but is he... Repel? Okay.
What was that fire for?
I don't know. What is he trying to reflect? Water ball. Okay. Oh, that's clever. That's clever. That's clever. Because he turned the enemy into fire and using the water ball is going to reflect off of him. He's going to get a very increased defense. Luckily, the mirror shield cannot reflect the spell, so he's going to get the full benefit of that right now. And now he will go around the enemy, I think is a play. Yeah, 1 damage. Wow, water ball strats. That is very clever. Let's go, Reven. Even that is going to deal probably 1 damage. Yeah. Oh, 24. That's pretty dope. That's pretty high.
I think the wall of this block of ice is still ice, no matter whether you change. Because it's an ability. It's not the. It's not the spell.
Yeah. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, but that was really, really smart play by Reven. I wouldn't have thought of it. Great play by Reven.
Absolutely. That's the type of play that I really like to see. See a runner in his best shape. Deeker Scroll is definitely not what he wants to see. He wants to see like pretty much anything that can help him a little bit. Deeker Scroll is not one of them, but I think he's not gonna be picky on what he's gonna get. Considering he's got such a low inventory and so high in the floors, but Deekers is just not helping at all.
Okay, so that's the room.
That's the room. How do we get out of that situation? Okay, we get an ice rock going up. That's gonna move him actually in a better position. That's help him, yeah. No, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt, but it's actually gonna kill.
Yes.
He's got 5 health. Obviously the problem is that now the enemies can be kicked, but that doesn't deal damage to him. He's gonna be fine. Well, fine. Define fine. He cannot actually move back to the left side.
Okay, and now he. Oh, okay. Lucky for him.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
Okay.
And the glaciers are going away. That might not be a good thing, though. You want them behind you. Yeah.
What can you do? That Griffon, would it kill?
I don't think.
Probably it would. I think it would. But yeah, Revenue is not going to use it unless absolutely needed, and that probably is a moment when it's absolutely needed.
Yeah, that might be now. It might miss. It's got the same, like, it's not a high chance to miss, but...
Hopefully not spell.
There we go. 101 is pretty good. Okay, he knows the glaciers are not on that track. That's actually probably a better place to be right now than where he was going. Because I assume those glaciers would have gone around and coming back to that situation.
There is elevator.
He gets to see the elevator. That was a very scary
floor for Reven. 1 more, and the match would be his.
Yeah, but absolutely. But I don't know. He doesn't have anything. Yeah, it's very far. He doesn't have anything on him. And that's a dragon. It's sleeping. I get it, but it's very scary. I am at the edge of my seat, and I don't know how this is gonna pan out. He can touch it. He can feel it. You know, he can taste it almost. But he doesn't have it yet. And Poulet might be a little bit further ahead, but he's got a decent-ish inventory. And that situation is very bad. I don't know how Reven gets out of this. I guess... What is he doing?
YOLO.
Well, yeah, he's only gonna live once, and then he's not gonna live anymore.
Finding,
hoping, and that doesn't work, and that's a kill.
Yeah.
Oh, almost not a kill, though, but that is a kill. We have Reven going down on floor 39. We have 15 minutes, or actually 14 minutes, going for Poulet SandKnight. He needs to reach floor 40, because tying it on floor 39 is not going to be enough. Can Poulet actually clear the tower? I can't believe it. That's madness, guys. Let's go.
One thing that was already mentioned, those are seeded races. So both of the runners will face exactly the same challenges in terms of like floor layout and probably starting monsters. So we've seen that floor 39 is not easy. There is no easy way out of it because on one way you've got a dragon, on the other you've got maximum. So unless Poulet will have resources to deal with this kind of situation, he will have the same struggles. So it's not immediate win for Poulet. Reaching floor 40, even though our runners showed that in the first 2 runs might be easy for them, is actually not an easy feat. It's not a guaranteed thingy.
No.
Let's see. It's still very, very exciting match. Reven is currently leading, so let's see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. And this is very interesting to see as a situation. Now, Poulet doesn't know where he needs to get to or what he needs to accomplish to win. He just knows the timer is running, so that means that probably Reven isn't gone yet. Luckily, that Rice should kill, because it's a wind monster, but if not, I would have not killed. He gets to replace that egg bomb with another egg. I don't remember if we know what that is,
I don't
but
think we do.
His inventory is thinging out pretty quickly as well. And we know there is a bad floor. I don't remember which one it is, but it's 38 or 39, where you start with a room with 3 glaciers and a maximum. That's going to happen again on Poulet Sans-Tête's side. And that costed quite a bit of items for Reven to get out of, and some luck using the Glacier's Ice Rock ability, or Ice Curling ability, if nothing else. That's going to be... That's the right thing. That might not happen on Poulet Sans-Tête's side, and if that doesn't happen, how is he gonna get out of this? I don't know. But we will get there to see. He might not even reach that high. That's a very scary proposition. He's got, well, that's gonna be 4 floors to go. And he's got not much.
Oh, he absolutely doesn't. I haven't observed fully Poulet's usage of the items. He has quite many items, but I don't know like how many of them still have any juice left in them. So
yeah, that's the
I didn't see any actually attacking spell ball. He only has those that can sort of help him avoid the fight, but there is nothing really that can let him win the fight. And now that this egg is gone, Olim now 2 items that were able to give him sort of a leeway in terms of avoiding the fight are gone. And what is left?
Yeah, and it was kind of lucky because the egg bombing here with the Glacier. Glacier is not a very strong monster in terms of raw strength, so the only monster it could kill was a fire monster, so it was kind of lucky that it was not the other way around. I don't think a Glacier would have killed a Glacier in the situation of an egg bombing. So good on him, but I mean, again, his inventory is pretty thin. But he goes for a YOLO strat, re-enter the room, hope nobody wakes up, and the Maximum woke up way too late. He's fine, he's out. That's the bad room I was talking about.
Now that's a room. Let's see. Okay, Poulet starts with Ice Rock. That doesn't. And now that bedroom is a horrible situation, especially due to the crack trap. I don't think that. Okay, Acid Rain.
That doesn't kill. That doesn't kill the Glaciers for sure.
That doesn't. Okay.
No. Oh no, it doesn't. That's gonna be 2 level up. That's gonna help, but that's not gonna help enough. He can take care of one of them, but not both, and the other one is gonna kill him. I think the only play is to try and go and double dodge.
He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. And that's a kill. 439 against 438. Reven win this best of 3 by the smallest margin. This was a race, guys. Are you entertained?
I definitely was. I informed our runners who is the winner. It couldn't have been closer. Well, maybe it could have been if Poulet reached floor 39.
Oh yeah, but then
but it's still amazing, like how great of a showcase the runner gave us. A proper finale to an amazing marathon.
And for some crazy reason, this game is so RNG heavy, obviously. And for some reason, every time we run at ARPGME, it's super tight, it's crazy. Action's going on everywhere. I don't know why, but I mean, ARPGME and Azure Dreams goes hand in hand for some reason. The stars align, and then their matches are great, and I love it.
Yeah, that was a super exciting race to see. It's crazy they didn't even finish the third to break the tie, but I mean, as you guys have things set up, like that was just nuts. Like it was whoever made it the furthest.
Yeah, this game is not necessarily about clearing the tower. Obviously, that's the ultimate target, but it's surviving longer than your opponent. We got 440 clear, 2 on each side during the first 2 matches, but that's not something we say that's gonna happen. It's something that might happen. It happened 4 times. It's crazy we take it, but I mean, most matches might end up just dying on floor 20, 30, whatever. It depends on the runners, obviously, but these 2 are really great, and was super nice to see them reach in the high 30s to the 40s all the time. That's mad.
I'm
Yeah,
checking
that
with
was
our
just
runners whether
crazy.
they would be ready for the interview.
Oh yeah, we can't wait.
Just let me know, and we'll
Yeah,
Yes,
bring them in.
so yeah, please bring them in.
yeah, I have undeafened them. The runners just have to unmute and undeafen themselves, and
Okay.
Good
we'll
evening.
be able to.
Oh,
Hello,
Poulet! Poulet, my boy, you played really, really well, but I mean, it started easy-ish and it went downhill.
It went down a very dark hole quickly. Yes.
Can you talk to me a little bit about like that first seed, second seed, third seed? So we started with the Garuda, then we go to Dragon, and then we go to Wee Dog.
Yeah, I'm very happy about what the randomizer did to us today
Mm-hmm.
because we were able to show a large quantity of what the game is able to do.
Mm-hmm.
The extreme case being Garuda, first of all.
Yes.
Then I don't know what route Reven chose for seed number 2, but I went the water route, which is not historically what we would do, but then we got used to it as a community, and it's pretty solid. It's a bit grindy, as you could see, but it's a pretty fun route because you get to kill pretty much everything. And then also with a strong monster, dragon is probably one of the best monsters available.
Oh yeah.
Also, it's a dragon. And then finally on seed number 3, Wee Dog, which I named because this is pretty much what this monster inspires me.
Yes.
But
And-
yeah,
and I-
overall, very happy about the seeds, and they were quite generous. We didn't have one seed which just ended miserably on floor 10 or anything like this.
Oh, we were close. We were close, Poulet.
Bloom galore. Oh my god.
No. That very first seed, I got smacked in the face by a troll spell because I completely forgot.
Oh,
Completely forgot.
yeah.
I had like 6 HP, and I ended up using 2 of my fireball charges just to get off of floor 1.
You know, I had forgotten about troll spells, and I was just terrified of Viper Town on the last seed because of Wee Dog. But
yes.
it didn't really occur to me that the trolls could just smash me. So, good point.
If
Yeah,
we are
I
talking
was.
about that, I do want to ask you, Reven, what was going through your head when you tried to manipulate that Viper and it didn't work?
Originally, I was like, wait a minute. I had to double check to make sure he was indeed in the room, and I'm like, oh, that's what that freeze was. He already ate an egg. Oh.
Okay, so you knew. Yeah,
But
for
yeah,
you, Poulet,
that
uh,
never clicked. It never clicked until my my wee dog went down.
yeah, exactly. Reven tried to manipulate a Viper by putting an egg behind him, and Widok was next to that Viper, and it ended up with Widok dying because that Viper already had an egg in its belly. And
Oh no. Oh yeah. So
what
usually
can you
you
do?
have a queue when they eat an egg, right? The
you
lag you
can-
mentioned.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I knew that too. I knew there was no Maneva on that floor, and I didn't even think about it. Like, cause I did get a freeze. I thought I saw a flock for a second, cause it took longer than I would expected, and it never even dawned on me until my wee dog died. I'm like, oh man, I should have known that.
Speaking of Maneva, shout out to my 3 seats in a row, including one on the elevator sisters. Absolutely
they-
not suspicious.
Reven had the same setup, exactly as is.
The three seeds, yeah. I even tried to like double back and go around, and then I kept getting cut off, so I just bit the bullet. Got a hit and then made him my buddy, so he killed the other seed that was on the actual elevator.
Reven, you didn't just make it his buddy, like your buddy. With the power of friendship, you Dynamaxed that Manoiva, and that was amazing.
I got the jumbo size buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So Reven, can you touch a little bit, like very quickly, on how like the three monster, like the fact that we use random toolkit and you had three different monsters, like how you reacted or how you would feel about those three seed in a quick succession?
Kind of like exactly like Poulet said. It gives kind of a nice spread of what the game can be. Between Garuda being just go 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 go, you don't ever really stop, and that's just to pick up a specific kind of item, and then you just go some more. Um, you had the Batnel. I went the Batnel route. I never even hatched the dragon. I think I threw it at a glacier at some point. Um, but yeah, it's like kind of a standard route. You have a decent fighter. He has some mixture magic. The Batnel in particular has that healing ability, which carried me. It was a bit slow, but it works. And then you have Wee Dog, which is basically Qn but worse because he doesn't have as much MP.
Yeah.
Um, but he also has kind of a niche thing that never came into play with his throwing meat, and he can kind of have infinite MP. So I don't know. All the monsters are kind of interesting in their own different way. So I felt like there was a pretty good spread.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, I'm pretty happy with the way everything went.
I've got a question to you, Revan, about that second seed with Batnel. The first one, you didn't know that it was a dragon until very, very late in the game. And like we were sort of discussing that the tower is trying to tell you like hatch the tech, because that Batnel had a very tough situation. I think it even died once. And you still, even when you learned that the dragon, no, I'm sticking to my Batnel. So we know that it's your favorite monster. So if you knew from the floor one that it was a dragon, would you have gone for it?
No.
Yeah, Batnel is your boy. So
Yeah.
Sticking to
yeah,
his gun. Yeah.
with that Batnel, there was one situation where it was a little bit tough. It was against two Garudas. This is the moment when Poulet was just like swimming through those floors because, of course, he had a fire dragon, and
Mm-hmm.
those Garudas stood no chance. While you had a water Batnel that actually gave you a trouble, and you were in a situation where you were like next to two Garudas with only 20 HP, and you saw just a moment ago that Garuda hits you for 22 HP. Your gameplay was okay, I'm gonna fireball one of the Garudas while commanding the Batnel to heal me. Did you calculate that you will gain a level and gain enough HP so that when the Garuda hits you, you will not die to it? Or what was in your head at that time?
Well, it was kind of a combination of I kind of figured that because I was still fairly low level at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty sure that I would gain a level, and even if I didn't, I was also pretty sure that my Batno would get the heal off before I got punched again. But I was by no means 100% on either. It was kind of a calculated gamble, I guess.
Okay.
Educated guess.
Yeah.
Um, But that was a great gameplay on both sides, to be completely honest. I really am happy to have been a part of this. Um, so I want to take a second to thank you, Reven and Poulet, for the showcase here. Obviously, Reven GG on the win, but I mean, that was not a commending win on either side. Poulet, you played very well, and all those three matches were pretty close to one another. So thank you very much to both of you guys.
Which is nice, and thank you for hosting us.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just happy to be here. I got my little grudge match with Poulet, and I feel like we're even now. So yeah, and I had a lot of fun, and that's what matters. I hope that everybody in chat enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed playing it. So
Yeah, and a giant thank you to Chai for having being a part of this with me on commentary. Thank you very much, man. That was a blast to shoutcast with you today.
Definitely was a blast. Happy to be here. Thank you.
I want to say a giant thank you to ARPGME and its staff. I know those are the unsung hero. I know people behind the scenes are working extremely hard to bring to you, chat, these speed runs, and thanks to them, it is happening. If it was only me, it would be me speaking to a mic that doesn't work and everything would be on fire. But there's people behind the scene that makes this happen. A giant thank you to all of them. Thank you so very much. And thank you, obviously, to MASH, the organizer of the tournament. Thanks to him, we have a place and outlet to play those games. And ARPGME is always super high. So I want to just say a giant thank you to you. And one final thank you to chat. You guys are marvelous and awesome, and you are the reason why these marathons are fun to make and so great. And I am so blessed to have the chance to showcase this game and this community to you. I just love it, and I'm gonna give the mic back to Mash. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for giving us a chance for being again part of the ARPGME marathon.
Yep. So for those of you who don't know, this community, I reached out to them, this is the third year now that we've had them on the
30 year, yeah.
marathon. Yeah. And so I reached out to various communities, and this is one of the communities that really did speak and communicate very well with its community, not only them, but myself, and organizing something like this with them to have inside of the marathon since 3 years ago now was very exciting, actually, to bring a tournament setting match into a marathon, because as someone who's personally worked on tournaments as well, but only 2 years ago, I would like to say that this kind of did inspire me 3 years ago to sort of get into a bit of tournament hosting and organizing as well. Maybe not as a commentator like these lovely people here, who obviously do it very, very well. Like last year, I believe we had Professor Palmer as a commentator, if I remember correctly, with SandKnight, and we had two really well-known runners as well last year, and even the previous year. I believe who was it last year that also that does a lot of work with you guys that also was a runner, because they were a big hand and help as well.
Last year was me running against, I don't even remember, but it was Shawnee and Professor Palmer on stream, on commentary. Yeah.
Yeah. Shawnee is fantastic. Like I'm trying to. There's so many people that I've interacted with over the years that it's super hard to remember all the names, but I can definitely put a face to them, and I definitely remember. Oh yeah, this person, did all this stuff. But there's a lot of names when I'm put on the spot that I tend to forget. But deep down,
that's
like
fine.
deep down, that you won't forget these people. Like I reached out to SandKnight during the initial opening of submissions and said, "Hey, love to have you guys back." It was super hyped last year and the year before that, and SandKnight was all for it because their community is just that involved and that enthusiastic about showcasing what they have all been working on. And that's kind of the reason why I continue doing ARPGME, is that I'd like to give a chance for other runners and other communities to, even in a smaller setting, showcase what they want to do, give them the reins, and give the best presentation, however they kind of want to bring to you, the viewer, the audience, that kind of experience.
Okay, can I take a second to say that Mash, you're a wonderful person, and there's a million reason to make a marathon. You might want to, whatever, but I mean, giving back to people is not something you see in your everyday life. A lot of people think only of themselves, and even though they might tell you that they think about you, right? Sometimes they're not necessarily gonna act on that. And Mash, you're a rare breed of people, and I want to say that I love you, and I thank you so much, man. These marathons are great. Your marathon is great because you're a great person.
That's super awesome to hear, and that's kind of the stuff that I want to strive for. Because over the years, I've gone through a lot of rough patches, in and out, inside and outside of communities when it came to speedrunning. I don't do a lot of speedrunning these days. I mean, I have in the last little while, participating in marathons and networking with people, and over the years, it's been a fantastic experience, and that has allowed me to bring content like this Azure Dreams Race to you guys. And I encourage you, join their community. They are very enthusiastic about teaching you the game, whether you want to speedrun it or not. And we'll be more than happy to maybe have you join their randomizer matches and tournaments and races, whatever. They have so much stuff going on in there. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, their Discord has so much activity on a regular basis. Out of a lot of them I've been in, it's got a lot of activity. So much like the Symphony of the Night community as well, who I've done some stuff with. Again, all great communities that I've connected with over the years. Maybe not as a runner myself, but as someone who likes working with communities and continuing to grow things. So again, thank you very much for having this organized and presenting this with me for ARPGME. It was a fantastic way to end these last 3 days running for the marathon. And again, big thank you to the runners who played these ridiculous seeds. If anybody here before you guys go and I close out the rest of the show, do you guys want to say any additional things related to the community or plug anything else? I did drop your link to your Discord so that people can come find you guys.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just join if you want to see more of the game and be part of the community. We are a speedrun community, yes, but we are mostly lovers of the game. Even if you've never played it, just join in. We're gonna let you know when we play a match or when we stream the game, and from there you can learn. And if you don't want to learn, that's fine too. We have people that are just in there because they like to draw monster from the game or just watch matches. We are just the community, the place to end it all. And if you just want to see more of this game, this is a place to be. You don't need to be a speedrunner yourself. And we are growing pretty big. We have past 550 members, which for a speedrun community is decent, especially for a game not as known as this one. So yeah, follow that link, join us in, and we're going to be more than happy to have you on your side.
Oh, and SandKnight, did you mention the sentence that everyone says when they discovered about our Discord?
No, I didn't, but
Wait,
yeah, you can go on.
people know about this game? And then you realize it's 500 of us? So
Yeah.
yes, it feels like Azure Dreams is one of those games that a lot of people have played when they were young, but then have forgotten about and somehow were dreaming that they would be a follow-up or a sequel rather to the game. And when they discover randomly on Twitch that people actually play this game nowadays, they always come to the Discord and they're like, wow, you guys exist? And that's very, very fun every time.
Yeah, the 500th time is kind of like, yeah, it's coming. Wait, guys. And then the people say it, and you're like, yep, there's a meme.
Yes.
That's fantastic to hear. Yeah, like growing communities, like I mean, they take some time, and maybe it only starts with like a few people, but it's the love of the game and the craft and the events and the community that really brings it to new
Yes.
levels. Even if it's a small number of people, it's the community bonding and all the stuff that you guys do within the community that really brings people a lot closer together. And you guys definitely have a very strong connection with your community, and saying that you handle a lot of stuff with the community, but you're not alone. You have plenty of people
Oh, yeah.
that you could name off, but like there's just so many people.
Oh, yeah. I'm well surrounded. I made sure that I was well surrounded, and I have the greatest community member ever. All 500 of them, I'm sure.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you again for putting on this Azure Dreams Best of 3 Rock Me to the Top. I believe I said that correctly.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. So
my names are always crazy. Sorry about that.
It's all good. But they do races in tournaments like this all the time. So definitely go check them out. Do you guys like have a channel that you do this stuff on? Particularly?
No, we do generally do our own stream, or we do all our tournaments with Speed Gaming. So if you follow Speed Gaming, we are always somewhere around there. We do 2 to 3 tournaments a year, and they last generally 2 to 3 months a tournament. So we're more there than we're not.
Yeah. So yeah, like Speed Gaming's a great avenue for people that do want to find a platform for like setting up races and tournaments on. I mean, NASA Marathon is it also another great platform that's open to hosting this kind of stuff. And I mean, really Longathon is another marathon that is open to hosting content, additional content. So I mean, yeah, there's people out there. Just seek them out and talk with them, because that's how you get these community interactions and these bonds growing. But anyways, I'm gonna take over the reins from here. I'm gonna close up the marathon. Thank you again. You guys can stick around if you'd like. But I'm going to rattle off some things that I would like to discuss before we end the show and pass on a raid to somebody. So, anyways, we're gonna move over to the intermission screen so you lovely folks have some music to listen to while I talk for a brief bit. But thank you again.
Thank you very much. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.